Hey everyone, welcome to our channel, and thank you for your support. If there's a favorite novel on the channel and you want the next part, you're just one step away. Become a Patreon member and I can make it depending on your tier. Thank you for your attention.
Oh, I don't have the face to look at it. Ximen Qing covered her eyes and only felt a pain in the egg. Why does the charter lady have such obsessive obsession with muscles and instant noodles? Ding dong, just then doorbell rang again. Ximen reluctantly got off the sofa and opened the door. Who? As soon as the door opened, no one saw it, damn it. She was about to close the door, but found that it couldn't close. Fuck. Is there really a ghost? Ximen Qing jumped back in fright and looked around nervously. I am a god, I am not afraid of ghosts. Said so, but in fact she panicked a lot. Tilda, I'm here, Tilda, at this moment. There was a whisper like a ghost. And Ximen Qing jumped directly to the ceiling in fright. Wow, what the hell, on the ground, finally. Another word came. And Ximen Qing found out that there seemed to be someone buried in the snowdrift on the ground at the door. She hit a fire in the air and burned the snow, revealing a figure covered in embarrassment. Off fire. Fire, the man yelled and jumped from the ground. Then rolled in the snow. I'm sorry. Ximen Qing stuck out his tongue. I accidentally used too much force. She hurriedly took the fire back. Otherwise she would roll around in the snow like this. Her fire would not go out. Take a closer look, isn't this guy Song Yun, whose fire was finally extinguished, was even more miserable. He stretched out his hand for someone to pull him. But Ximen Qing was obviously not going to touch him. She stood in the hallway and asked him, hey. Why are you scaring under the snowdrift? I am not, I don't. Song Yun said in a voice that was almost sobbing. Little boy, Ximen saw that he was really pitiful. So he called to Xiaoguai. Let Xiaoguai control the snow water that had just been burned and dangle Song Yun into the house. And then gave him some hot water, drink more hot water. Ximen Qing said with a smile. She realized that this was already very gentle. Song Yun was drinking water. And suddenly tears flowed out. Wells, you are a big man, why are you crying, why do you cry? Ximen asked him after we left last night. What happened to you? As soon as she asked, Song Yun cried more fiercely. This half-day experience was nothing short of a nightmare. And it was all tears. After you left me, I was left with her on the back of a whale. The Indian Ocean is as big as the Indian Ocean. I can't cross the sea with a sword, it feels very unlucky. But she told me that it was okay and said she was very grateful for my help. If you want her, you must agree with your body. You won't agree. Ximen Qing's facial expression became extremely horrified. Like watching a horror movie. Song Yun looked a little embarrassed and looked away. Who made her look so beautiful? Damn, you are so spicy. Ximen Qing praised him admiringly. Young man. This is even stronger than the Japanese Gundam. What is Gundam? The car brand is similar to Rolls-Royce, Ximen Qing asked. You shouldn't be the kind of person who dreamed of saving the beauty from a hero from a young age. And then finally encountered a similar scene. Thinking that you were the protagonist, so confident. Accepting the confession of beautiful women. The kind of stunner who has never considered the trap right. That's not it. Song Yun looked away again and said with a guilty conscience. Poor child, whose love do you think you accept? It's the love of a broom star, all right. Ximen Qing asked with a hint of gloat. What happened then? Later. I thought we were going to be floating at sea for a while. But I didn't expect to be lucky and met a passing cruise ship. Song Yun began to remember. The chance of encountering a ship on the vast sea is not very high. He felt that he had won the lottery at the time and hurriedly asked the cruise ship for help. The two said that their small fishing boat was destroyed by a whale. Anyway, there is evidence. And they easily gained the trust of the people on board. At first they thought that the people on this boat were good people. And they were willing to help them and provide them with clean clothes. But who would have thought that before the two had time to thank the owner of the ship? There was a gun battle on the ship, completely bewildered. Song Yun immediately took action to subdue the gangster. Which is considered a reward. But who thought those guys were particularly ruthless? They just bombed the ship. He and the girl had no choice but to escape in a lifeboat. Just as he was lamenting the bad luck, The girl said to him, "You are such a good person. And you will surely turn bad luck into good luck." Not long after speaking there was a big tsunami on the sea, which directly swept them onto an island. Fortunately, this is not an uninhabited island. He found a family to borrow a charger to charge the phone. And Song Yunwoo called as a result. The big dog of the family suddenly went mad and rushed towards Song Yoonj. It turned out that Song Yoonj accidentally hung a piece of bacon on his belt when he entered the yard. Song Yoonj was chased all the way by the dog. And finally the meat fell off and the dog stopped chasing it. Inyuku got away. He used the resources of the Song family overseas to buy 2 plane tickets. Ready to fly back to the country. Simon Ching couldn't help but say, "You dare to take a plane? Ma Yi, this plane is about to explode, how do you know?" Song Yoonj looked at her in surprise. The probability of an airplane accident is obviously lower than that of a car. The plane did explode while passing the Qin Emperor's mausoleum. To be precise, a part of the plane had a malfunction www. Novel MTL, which caused a series of chain reactions. Exploded and engined, finally had to make a forced landing. After getting off the plane, Song Yoonj sighed that he was unlucky how to sit and blow up. The girl next to him didn't speak. Just leaned against him with his hand. Seeing such a beautiful girl so attached to herself, Song Yoonj felt that although she was unlucky, she still made money. So he was going to take the train back to Zayakong City. Our country's train is the safest in the world. And there will be no accidents this time, he said to the girl before getting on the train. As a result, the train derailed halfway. He tried his best to save the person in the car, but he almost collapsed and fainted when he woke up. He found himself lying on a truck. The girl was gone. The driver who rescued him was a passing truck driver who was about to send the courier to Zayakong. When he saw Song Yoonj, who was unconscious on the road, he got him into the car. Song Yoonj is of course very grateful to the driver's eldest brother. But he also lost track of the girl, but he is not very anxious. This is Hua country. Isn't it easy for them to find someone from the Song family? So he was going to Zayakong first. And then he would go home after saying hello to Song Yunwoo. Whoever thought that when the truck was about to enter Zayakong City, it had a rear-end collision due to a slippery, snowy road. He exhausted the little strength he had just recovered to rescue the driver's eldest brother and sent him to the hospital. And then returned to Ziliang Demon Village by himself. He didn't dare to take any other means of transportation. That's it. Finally returned to Ziliang Demon Village. When I thought I could finally breathe a sigh of relief, snapped, a large block of snow fell on the eaves and directly pressed him to the ground. How should I say? Simon Ching thought for 2 seconds. And then sang to Song Yun, "You are still alive. And you have no arms or legs. You are already very good, huh?" Song Yoonj looked dazed. What's all this talking about? You still don't know who that woman is. Simon loves Sophia Jani's affairs to Song Yoonj. After listening, he opened his mouth, dumbfounded. I almost had a lifelong private appointment with an 8 evil. And all the unfortunate things I had been on the road had happened because of her. This is really a walk in front of the ghost gate without knowing it. Seeing this, Simon felt that she still had to comfort him. In fact, Sophie is the goddess of luck, not the goddess of bad luck. She does not bring bad luck, but just distributes luck randomly. For example, although the train derails, but no one was injured or killed because of you. It is absolutely fortunate for others. In contrast, your unlucky things are worthwhile. But how do I feel that if I don't get on that train? It won't derail at all, Song Yoonj murmured. Who knows this? Simon Ching shrugged. No one can tell you the answer to this kind of what-if topic. It's not a game, but it allows you to choose a branch. Fortunately, this kind of thing is very mysterious. It is not clear. Song Yoonj is still a little scared. He didn't plan to go to Sophia Jani anymore, just kidding. What qualifications does this little Taoist priest have to worry about the safety of the 8 evil spirits? On the contrary, he felt that he had to report the matter to the Central Committee immediately. The existence of Sophia Jani entering the Flower Country is itself a more serious matter than a terrorist attack. After regaining his strength, Song Yoon stood up and found Song Yunwoo, who was discussing with the female soldier's sister. "I'm going back," snapped. Song Yunwoo was overturning a female soldier who was a head taller than her. He looked up and was surprised when he saw him. "Huh. When did you come back, Song Yoonj? You are really my sister. If you want to go back, go back. And now you can go back in time to worship the ancestors at night." Song Yunwoo talked to her younger brother, while pulling up all the female soldiers who fell on the ground, and slapped them off the snow. The female soldiers all looked at her in admiration. They are indeed instructors. And the methods are still so sharp. Song Yoonj asked her, "Are you really not going back with me?" "Don't go back," Song Yunwoo shook his head. "What are you going back to do? Let those 3 ants and 6 women run on me, let's go." Song Yoonj didn't force it, and after saying goodbye, he went back to the capital. He didn't dare to fly by plane. But Simon Ching told him that unless Sophie Ajani devoted his energy to control, otherwise this passive effect of influencing luck would generally not last long. It can be judged from the fact that he hasn't choked on drinking water. He should not be as unlucky as before, unless he meets the woman again on the way. Song Yoonj couldn't believe it at first. But when he took a taxi all the way to the airport and nothing happened, he finally believed it. "I thought I would never be able to take transportation in my life." When the plane landed smoothly at the Beijing airport, Song Yoonj cried excitedly. People at the airport exit were shocked when they saw this. What happened? This guy has finally returned home after spending a few years abroad. Is it possible to lie on the ground and kiss the ground next? After Song Yoonj left, the female soldiers also expressed their intention to leave. They were originally here to perform the task, and it was pretty good to be able to take a few hours to see Song Yunwoo. It's really hard. Those who are celebrating the new year have to defend their homes and the country. Ximen said emotionally. Song Yunwoo nodded, yes. So I try to train them as hard as possible. But this is too strong. Ximen Ching still couldn't help but vomit. Both chest muscles have been trained into one piece. What's wrong with that? Song Yunwoo disapproved. Looked down at his chest and said regretfully, I want to practice, but I can't get it out at this moment. Ximen Ching squatted on her chest. Her face covered her chest like this. What are you doing? Seeing this skillful movement, Song Yunwoo felt that she was eating tofu, and subconsciously prepared to throw Ximen Ching on the floor. But the sudden heat from her chest stopped her movement. Ximen Ching, it seems something is wrong. She held up Ximen King's shoulder and took a look, and found that her face was as red as a fire. This situation is exactly the same as the one in Sanya. No way, the seal is loose again, I just made it up. She was shocked. Now Damon Zai and Qin Yuyo are not around, and there is no way to prepare the materials immediately. If Ximen Ching suddenly loses her ability, she can't stand it. Song Yunwoo quickly checked the seal on Ximen Ching's body, but then her expression became a little confused. The seal is okay, is fine. How can Simon Love have a fever? Song Yunwoo moved her to the sofa. www. Novel MTL. Calm tilde and began to think about it. After thinking about it, the most reasonable explanation that can be drawn can only be related to Sophia Jani. Ximen Ching made a wish to Sophia Jani last night, hoping that he would no longer be afraid of the sun and no longer need to asterisk blood. Then when she woke up this morning, her wish came true. However, Sophia Jani's abilities are very unstable. Even if she can control her own abilities, it is destined to last. Song Yunwoo just didn't expect it to be so fast. Even if one day has not arrived, Ximen Ching will be beaten back to its original form. But what is the principle? Song Yunwoo was more confused than this. The information is very clear. And Ximen Ching has also said that Sophia Jani's ability is a lucky allocation. She didn't have any ability to let Ximen King master her own power. Nor was she a lamp spirit who could realize her wish. But Ximen Ching's wish was truly realized, which is very weird. Song Yunwoo couldn't figure out how Sophia Jani did it. But if she doesn't figure out the principle, she won't be very relieved of the current situation of Ximen Ching. The seal did not seem to be damaged, but to be honest, her seal was only effective because of Ximen Ching's willingness to cooperate. If she is serious, She can break through this small seal at any time. That is to say, even if the seal is intact. It is not absolutely safe. Even though she has lived with Simon Ching these days. She already knows Simon Ching's character very well and knows that she is not a cruel person. But the prestige of the 8 evil spirits is too loud. Like a shadow of childhood. She was very worried that Simon Ching would unconsciously cause some damage. At this moment, she found that Simon Ching seemed to be whispering something. Leaned in and listened only to hear, "Milk, milk." Song Yunwoo rolled his eyes suddenly. This idiot zombie has something in his mind. Why is it still talking about milk puffs at this time? My mind is full of puppies, bah. She simply carried Simon King upstairs, threw it on the bed and ignored her anyway. If the seal is not broken, there is no need to worry about something wrong. If she is willing to have a fever, let her go. Song Yunwoo went downstairs and suddenly found that the house was much deserted. Only Xiaoguai was watching TV in the lively living room yesterday, which made her feel a sense of emptiness inexplicably. Sure enough, it's better when everyone is there. She missed Qin Yuyao and Da Dazai since there was no one. She went back to the room to draw a cartoon. Heavenly Dragons is nearing its end, to be honest. The finale script given to her by Simon Love is really shocking. And she herself can't wait to draw these. Song Yunwoo went back to the room to paint, leaving Xiaoguai alone on the first floor. She was watching TV and watched it well, when suddenly her phone rang. Opened it and saw that it was a mission. Xiaoguai's eyes lit up. She has never forgotten that she is a killer. She hasn't been tasked recently, and her hands are a little itchy. Task description: hit the target to full bloom. Attachment picture. Intelligence: the target will arrive at room 1 on the 16th floor of XX Hotel at 8 p.m. on February 6. Remuneration 10,000 yuan, number 6. Xiaoguai looked at the phone. Today is number 5, which means it will be tomorrow morning. She immediately checked the location of XX Hotel, and then roughly planned an action plan. Go first, then hit him, and then leave. She tried to figure it out and thought the plan was perfect. The 4 female soldiers returned to the army after leaving the Ziliang demon village. They have a special task to perform this time, some time ago. A certain overseas Chinese in the United States contacted the country, saying that he was going to return to the motherland with the national treasure that Huagyu lost during World War II. This incident has naturally received great attention from the country. At the same time, everyone understands that the US will definitely not allow him to return home so easily. So the two sides launched a series of games. For example, the Huakeo made a false shot, pretending to travel from the east coast through the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean and finally land on the Zhangjiang River. As a result, the US side sent people to intercept and sink the ship in the Indian Ocean. But in fact, the things on that ship are fake. The real thing actually arrived at Natsuko City from the west coast via the Pacific Ocean. When something was discovered in the US, the genuine product had already entered the territory of Flower Country. There is Jiang Jianhong who blocked the 8 evil spirits of the United States. And it is obviously too late to block it again. There are only 2 things to guard against now. One is that the United States has an undercover agent in the territory of Hua Country, and will not hesitate to expose its identity in this incident to destroy the national treasure and return. Second, the Huakeo who claims to be returning with his national treasure is a liar himself. But he actually has another purpose. Regardless of the possibility, a large number of security forces must be assembled in Zayakong City. The loss of the fishing boat this morning attracted the attention of the police because everyone was nervous at this critical period. Fortunately, Sen Kainshin still has some skills. Otherwise, Simon Ching might be arrested as a terrorist. Because the leader responsible for receiving Huakeo this time is a woman. The strongest female barracks in the capital are also dispatched. The 4 who came to see Song Yunwoo were actually representatives elected by the female soldiers. They had to squeeze out 4 vacancies on the premise of ensuring that the level of safety did not decrease. Otherwise, the female soldiers in the entire barracks wanted to meet one. See Song Yunwoo's "You are here, Li Zhengyi." the mayor of Zikong Sitamit Jiang Ziachun, the leader of the Cultural Relics Bureau who came from the capital this time. Jiang Ziachun is 63 years old this year. But he looks less than 50 on the surface. There is no whiteness on her black hair. She looks very energetic. And her skin is very well maintained. It can be seen that she must have been a beauty when she was young. Yes, long time no see, old classmate. Jiang Ziachun said hello with a smile. After the two parties had a courteous meeting, the mayor took Jiang Ziachun to visit the meeting place and introduced various aspects of security. Jiang Ziachun nodded after reading it. It's enough to stop ordinary people. As for the evolutionary, those strange abilities are simply beyond defense. So she was sent from above, as a clan of 8 evil spirits. The Jiang family was definitely the most powerful force in the Flower Country in the era when Xingyi sect could not hide. They don't fight otherwise. The influence of the Song family, the Lion family and other big families will have to be reduced by more than 1/3. Seeing her satisfaction, Li Zhengyi felt relieved. Since there is time, it is better to call Lao Qin to get together. Li Zhengyi suggested. The anti-crossing ceremony will start tomorrow. And they still have time today. Jiang Ziachun thought about it and agreed. The so-called Old Qin is actually the dean of the private hospital where Damon Zai is located. When the mayor's grandson was in a car accident, he was taken to his hospital as soon as possible, which shows how much he trusts in him. Yu reading www. Ukanshu Kamlai Jiang and Qin were all classmates in the university back then. Among the three, except for Li Zhengyi, who is an ordinary person, Jiang Ziachun and Lao Qin are both evolutionary. Jiang Ziachun inherits the blood of the asterisk of water, while Lao Qin is a science fiction and makes money more. The three old friends sat drinking tea together and chatted about some recent things. Old Qin, you are still so unreliable. A dignified billionaire. And you still work as a concierge all day long. Hey. Just this little hobby. My old man has been single for a lifetime. And now I can't help holding my grandson. I can only look at other people's grandsons to solve their greed. But how do I think you are here to peek at those children? Go, how can you be so innocent as a doorman? Is there any problem in observing everyone who enters the door? It's not a peek, it's not a peek. Old Qin shook his head straight. Jiang Ziachun and Li Zhengyi both smiled knowingly. This university just thinks about what the guy who peeped into the female dormitory said. And can't believe a single punctuation mark. Old Qin had to change the subject. Seriously, Jiang. Is the national treasure in that man's hand real or fake? I heard that someone in the Mystery Alliance has already accepted the reward for assassination. 30% are self-directed and self-acted. And the remaining 70% are true. Jiang Ziachun will naturally not know the news, this time. The person who took the task is the second in the North American natural disasters and man-made disasters list. And is known as the world's #1 killer. Oh, the world's #1 killer, such a big name. Although Li Zhengyi is an ordinary person, it does not prevent him from being surprised. Yes. Jiang Ziachun nodded, but he was all killed by that guy. And now he is the first person among the 8 evils recognized in the world. The name of the 8 evil spirits is not determined by any organization. Each of them has done more or less destructive actions. For example, Luna Jones once turned the whole of Australia into death 70 years ago. Although he himself insists that the pot belongs to Sophia Janney. Another example is Jiang Jianhong, who swept half of Europe during World War II and then went to North America to make a big fuss, causing 7 figures of casualties. Ximen Qing. Not to mention her. The Xingyi sect alone under her command has killed and pierced the island nation's army in the last century. With more than 1 million casualties, Killer Phantom. The strength is recognized as powerful in the entire mysterious alliance. It is said that apart from the 8 evil spirits, there is no existence in this world that he cannot assassinate. But because he only kills the target every time he acts and rarely causes large-scale disasters, he is called the uncrowned 9th culprit. This time the American side actually invited Phantom for a national treasure. which shows how much they attach importance to. Then you have to be careful. Old Chin told Jiang Ziechun quite solemnly. According to my investigation, the success rate of the missions of the Phantom so far seems to have remained at 99%. Repelled. Saving his life under the 8 murders this time also greatly increased his reputation. Jiang Ziechun said, because he is here. We are more convinced of the preciousness of that national treasure. This time we are determined to win. If he dares to step into our country, we will keep him here even if we pay some price. On a piece of land. Both Li Zhengyi and Lao Qin had serious expressions. This old classmate, who had always believed in extraordinary, actually said that he had to pay the price, which shows that the pressure on her by Phantom is by no means normal. Perhaps she is ready to sacrifice herself. Unfortunately, what can I do to help? Li Zhengyi shook his head and sighed. Old Qin is the same, my ability only makes me rich. And it can't help me much if you want Phantom to fail. The safest thing is of course to arrange an 8 evil spirit to deal with him. But the ancestor of the Jiang family has been dragged by the American one. And the two are holding back each other. And neither can intervene in this matter. The other 6-8 evils, 3 of which are owned by countries, are certainly not willing to intervene in the battle between the world's 2 strongest powers. And the remaining 3 is an otaku in space. Ignoring world affairs. A whole world travels, no one can find a place to live. There's still one. There is another one that happened to be in Zayakong City. But it was impossible for her to invite Ximen Qing to kill Jiang Chengxiu. As for the destructive power of the goddess, it might be to protect or destroy, Snee. A certain goddess who didn't know the truth sneezed heavily at this time. Song Yunwu sat by the bed and fed her porridge. You won't catch a cold. Right, what's the kidding? Ximen said with affection, I'm a zombie anyway. Have you ever seen a zombie catch a cold? My physique can kill a cow with a punch, okay. Is the bull provoke you, why do you want to beat it? Song Yunwu put a spoonful into Ximen Qing's mouth. Eat porridge. Ximen Qing swallowed the strange-smelling porridge. And said, isn't this to prove that I am strong, hey? The charter you pull the curtains. The sunlight shook my brain, Song Yunwu sighed. Turned around and closed the curtains. It seems that Sophia Jani's abilities have all disappeared. Ximen Qing said, I don't think things are that simple. What do you mean? That guy Sophie makes people very lucky or very unlucky at best. She can't let me control this power directly. Ximen Qing frowned and realized that things were not simple. Song Yunwu nodded. She also thought about this question, so what is your guess? I think the external factors that allow me to control this power must be objectively present. Ximen Qing said. That fellow Sophie should have manipulated my luck and made me lucky enough to meet that condition. And then I'm not afraid that the sun doesn't need to asterisk blood anymore. Conditions, do you have eyebrows? Song Yunwu asked. Ximen Qing nodded proudly, of course. All of this can't be concealed from the appearance of the dragon. But the heart is the big detective Simon of Steel. She paused and saw that the charterer had no plans to complain at all. So she continued, what did I do before I met Sophie last night that I hadn't done before? Did I cross the wall and beat the tiger? Or steal the boat out to sea? I don't think it is. The real key should be wine. If she hadn't seen a certain Reaper elementary school student, maybe she wouldn't be connected to the wine all at once. But if it is really wine, it makes sense. It's not that she has never drunk wine since she woke up from 100 years of sleep. But she drank the blood-drinking wine for the first time last night. This drink was fragmented, absolutely abnormal. So she seriously suspected that the primer that caused her ability to become docile was the blood wine. It's just like the Grim Reaper elementary school students. Although they can temporarily obtain the effect, they will soon change back to www, novel MTL. Tilda, and even the body will become resistant to drugs. Is it because of Sophie's ability that blood wine, which had no such effect, suddenly obtained such an effect? Still saying that blood wine has such an effect. Meeting Sophia Jani and making a wish was just a coincidence. This point can no longer be verified. What Simon Ching knows now is that blood plus wine is very likely the elixir that can make her go everywhere. The chartered wife. Go and prepare more wine and blood packs for me. I will do an experiment. Simon Ching waved his hand as if to order a maid, however. All he got was Song Yunwoo's idiot-like eyes. What wine to drink? Eat porridge, Chinese letter. Simon King's mouth was so full that it was white and thick. Porridge. Some even dripped down the corner of her mouth to her chest. Fortunately, the area of the cushion is large enough to catch it. Otherwise the quilt will be dirty. One day passed quickly. That evening the sun set early. Xiaoguai looked at the time and decided to go out to complete the task. While she was sitting in the hallway changing her shoes, her two heads poked out from the edge of the stairs on the second floor and watched quietly. It seems that she has another task, Song Yunwoo said. Then you follow up quickly, Simon urged. You can't expect my sick number to go to the end right. You are sick. Song Yunwoo gave her a white look. Can't you kill a cow? What kind of sickness? A metaphor. That's just a metaphor. Simon King emphasized. Although she had tried her best to pretend to look like Lin Dayu, Song Yunwoo was forcibly dragged out of the door in the end. As always, the two followed Xiaoguai and escorted her. Diamante is an Italian. He is over 100 years old and still has the young physique of a 20-year-old boy. Because he is an evolutionary. A science fiction evolutionary. He placed his consciousness in a computer, and then realized the control of the physical body by implanting receivers in other people's bodies. In this way, has an infinite young body. And he is not afraid of death. The physical body is destroyed. The big deal is just another one. Relying on this special ability, he became the most powerful killer in the world. Titled Phantom because he is so fascinating. No one can find out his true identity. There were some powerful evolvers who tried to compete with him for the honor of being the strongest killer. However, his receiver was nanometer level and could enter the body directly from the respiratory tract. So he could control it as long as he could breathe. No matter how many of those people came. They just brought him food gradually. He also became the uncrowned king of the evolutionary world. If he could only control one body at a time, he felt that he could conquer the world by himself. He also swelled once, trying to challenge the 8 evil spirits. As a result, the receiver hadn't gotten close to the leader of Tsing. It was already burned by the blazing flames. And he himself was almost found his true body along the internet. Since then, he has never dared to be bothered by the existence of the 8 evil ranks. 8 evil spirits have killed only 8 people. As long as they don't provoke them, isn't the world going with them? This time he received a mission to assassinate a target in Xiaokong City and destroy a certain cultural relic in his hand. Originally because of the shadow 100 years ago. He didn't want to step into the flower country again. But the leader of Tsingyi has disappeared for so many years. And Jiang Jianhong has been entangled by the 8 evils of the United States again. After thinking about it, he feels that he can do something. Anyway, the rewards given by the US are so generous. And if you don't make a profit, you won't make a profit. There are no 8 evil spirits. Isn't that my playground? He thought so anyway. At the entrance of the hotel, a passerby passed by, facing a large number of security and military personnel. He naturally couldn't get in. But it was so cold that he sneezed at the door of the hotel and no one thought it was strange. As everyone knows, a small receiver has already flown out with this sneeze and got into the nose of a soldier on patrol. The soldier didn't notice the abnormality at all. But when he was crossing another team and passing by, he suddenly felt that his nose was itchy. And he couldn't help but sneezed ahi just like that. One by one, the receiver finally came into the body of a cultural relic expert brought by Jiang Ziachun. Diamante naturally did his homework before he came. He knew who could directly meet the overseas Chinese who returned with the national treasure. Since it is a national treasure, it will definitely need to be identified. This time, the cultural relic experts brought by Jiang Ziachun will inevitably come into contact with that cultural relic. At that time, whether it is killing people or destroying cultural relics, it will be easy for him, incidentally. The person possessed by him will not have any influence on himself, but he can stimulate the physical body through the receiver, exploding all the power in an instant. In this way, even ordinary people can explode with extraordinary power, but they will die because of it. Professor Jin, are you ready? Jiang Ziachun came over and asked. No problem, can I go for the appraisal? The possessed Professor Jin didn't know it, because Diamante had not interfered with him yet, and he was still acting as he should have been. Yes, Jiang Ziachun said, you come with Professor Cao. Jiang Ziachun brought two cultural relic experts to a room. In the center of the room was an off-body projector, and a three-dimensional image of a cultural relic was projected on the table. The cultural relics are not here. The two professors were a little surprised. Jiang Ziachun said, for the sake of safety. Although no one knows the Phantom's methods, his fascinating ability is well known. And Jiang Ziachun can't help it. In addition, the professor would naturally not say anything. He just focused on observing the projection of the cultural relics. On the other hand, Diamante's consciousness was sneering, really naive, thinking that he could not help it. Time is pushed back a little bit. Xiaoguai went out. This time he took the subway instead of the bus. Because there is only one route as long as you don't sit back, you can definitely get to the destination. So Xiaoguai didn't get lost this time. Ximon Qing and Song Yunwu have been following her, watching her come to the door of XX Hotel. When he found out that this place was already guarded by a large group of people, Xiaoguai knew that there was no way to get closer. She repeated her old tricks, turning into a puddle of water and gradually approaching from the snow, and then slowly climbed up along the wall. This winter night, no one noticed that the shadow of the wall was wet. Just like Jiang Ziachun said at the beginning, the army is blocking ordinary people, and the evolver still has to deal with it. Ximon Qing and Song Yunwu watched Xiaoguai enter the hotel outside, and they also planned to follow up www.novelmtl.com or Song Yunwu's invisibility charm. The two of them walked in blatantly. Even with temperature detectors, can't perceive them. Assassin, you can be a killer so hungry. Why do you want to be a cartoonist with such a promising career? Ximon Qing said, you can make more money as a killer. A vote is tens of millions, fuck off. Song Yunwu hit her, my ability is not for killing people. Then you can be a strange thief. And you can make money by stealing Mona Lisa's smile or something. Ximon Qing is still not willing to give up. She wants to let the renter's wife get rich, and then do some creative sharing by herself. You give up. I will be in the dark in the comics world in my life. Song Yunwu said firmly, cut. Ximon Qing didn't believe it. She was still there a few months ago considering whether to go home and inherit the family business. Does she really have no memory? SHHH, don't make a noise. Song Yunwu suddenly covered her mouth and stared at the front. It turned out that Xiaoguai changed from a pool of water to a puppy, looking for a target in the hotel, but she happened to hit him. Xiaoguai immediately hid in the corner to recover his body, and then took out his phone to look at the photo. That's right, it's the man, just punch him all over the face. She sighed silently. Why is she always doing such a desperate task? She is obviously a killer with no emotions, but since the task is like this, just do it. Otherwise the charter wife would be too scary if there is no money. About recalling the feeling of being hit on the floor by taking off his shoes, Xiaoguai shuddered all over. Just as she was about to rush out, someone suddenly caught up with her goal from behind, Professor Jin. Wait a minute, Vice Jiang. It's not that I don't give you face. But what can I identify by looking at a projection? Professor Jin said to lie with dissatisfaction. I don't even touch it. How do I know what texture and shape it contains? Isn't this for safety's sake? Jiang Ziachun explained in the end. Professor Jin insisted that he couldn't identify and left. Jiang Ziachun sighed and was about to go back to the house when he suddenly found that there seemed to be people in the corner of the corridor. Her expression immediately became serious. Damn. She found out. Ximon was surprised. Song Yunwu said, she is a well-known expert in the Jiang family, and the entire Hua country can be firmly ranked in the top 10. Isn't it natural to find Xiaoguai? Ximon King glanced at her subconsciously. So you didn't think she found us too from the beginning? Sure enough, Jiang Ziachun did notice the existence of Xiaoguai. She didn't move. But a fire sprinkler on top of Xiaoguai's head suddenly started spraying water. She was taken aback before she had time to leave. The water had already condensed into Jiang Ziachun's appearance. Jiang Ziachun originally thought it was a phantom lurking in and planned to arrest someone. But when she saw Xiaobeish was stunned, Xiaoguai had a guilty conscience and took the opportunity to turn his head and ran. I was discovered the problem is not big. Just act according to the original plan. Oh, wait a minute, Jiang Ziachun immediately caught up. But Xiaogu is not slow. Ximen Qing and Song Yunwu also immediately followed. On the way, Ximen Qing said empty words, "Hey charter wife. Have you noticed that this auntie looks a bit like Xiaoguai?" What auntie? Song Yunwu rolled his eyes. You old woman. You are too young to be your great-great-great-granddaughter. So I am so embarrassed to call her auntie. Ximen Qing felt like he was stabbed. But when you say that, it's really a bit like. I don't know the Jiang family very well, Song Yunwu said. If you look back, let my brother check it out. What can I check? Ximen Qing refused decisively. They knew she was Jiang's family since Xiaoguai showed her ability to work together. But she never planned to let her recognize her ancestor and return to her clan. After all, she was discarded at first. Since there can be the first time, who can guarantee that there will be no second time? Ximen Qing didn't want Xiaoguai to suffer from these messy things in the adult world anymore. Song Yunwu didn't say much after hearing this. She was also on the side of Ximen Qing this time. She knew more about the troubles of the big family. Jiang Chengxiu thought she would catch up with Xiaoguai soon. But the latter's speed exceeded her expectations. The two ran and turned the corner. And quickly caught up with Professor Jin, who had just left. Professor Jin, Jiang Chengxiu subconsciously shouted. Help me stop that kid, huh? As soon as Professor Jin turned his head, he saw a figure leaping towards him quickly. Before he could say fuck, he felt that he had been hit * the bridge of his nose. Fuck me at the same time. A man suddenly sat up from the bed in a 3-no hotel near Chengxi railway station in Xiakong City. He touched his nose, faintly feeling a little pain. This sense of authenticity has to be lowered in the future. It is indeed the Jiang family of Huoguo. Actually, this has been discovered. Where did I reveal it? Flaw: this person is Diamante. His sensor enters the human body through breathing. So it is usually lurking in the nose. Suddenly punched in the bridge of the nose. He naturally can't continue to control the body. He never told anyone about this weakness. So he didn't think the other party would know. Maybe it was just a coincidence. Although he was discovered, Diamante didn't panic. He had been abnormal in performing tasks before. But the opponent would often relax after repelling him once. As everyone knows, his sensors have been spread out long ago. And he can control other people in the hotel at any time. Of course, there is no way for a strong like Jiang Chengxiu. After all, she is too determined and can instantly turn into water. Once the sensor is sucked into her nose, she will be spotted and cleared. Diamante was not in a hurry, and was about to transfer consciousness again, when suddenly footsteps came from outside the door. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. Who, sir, do you want special services? No, get out. Diamante breathed a sigh of relief. Mad. Thought it was the Huoguo people who came after him. When he walked out the door, he happened to see a woman in a nurse's uniform knocking on the door next door. Don't knock, Diamante scolded. This is my friend's room. And it doesn't need to be. The woman in the nurse suit rolled her eyes and had to move on to the next room. At this time, the door she had just knocked on was opened, and a small head came out of it. What's wrong? This is a very beautiful girl. And Diamante also felt heartbroken. He has traveled to so many countries and seen countless beauties. But this kind of superb is really very rare. www. Novel MTL. This girl he met at the train station. She has no place to live, no money to eat. Diamante brought her to the hotel, intending to enjoy it after the mission was successful. She was also naive, completely unguarded against Diamante, and thought he was a good person. It's okay, Diamante said to her, pretending to be a gentleman. It's messy here, you have to pay attention to safety. Except for Maeve, someone knocks on the door, don't open it. Oh, okay, the girl nodded and then said embarrassedly. I'm a little hungry, well, I will order takeaway for you. Diamante did a lot of preparation work before coming to Hyugyuo to perform the task. And it was completely different from a crooked nut who had just arrived here. Thank you are such a good person. The girl smiled sweetly. Oh, Diamante whispered in his heart. The girl was so charming. He couldn't wait to complete the task. And then pressed her under him. If she does not resist, then it will be a wonderful night if she resists. Hey, isn't that better? With evil thoughts in his heart, he returned to the room, ordered takeout for the girl, lay on the bed again, and transferred his consciousness to the hotel. Of course it won't be possessed Professor Jin this time. He chose to control a waiter and then look for traces of the national treasure within his visible range. After nothing was found, he changed another person. His sight spread throughout the hotel. The most terrifying thing is that even if these people are manipulated by him, they will not be aware of it. And even the sudden blankness of memory does not exist, which is very natural on the other side. Xiao Guai beat Professor Jin into a pig. Jiang Chengxiu looks silly from behind. What is this kid doing? Just like the plan, the task is complete. Xiao Guai decided to implement the last step of the plan. Wait a minute. Jiang Ziachun watched in surprise as Xiao Guai knocked Professor Jin to the ground with a messy fist. And when he saw that she was going to bug her, he hurried up to grab her. Xiao Guai originally wanted to become water and escape. But Jiang Ziachun would do it. The water was encased in water. So Xiao Guai suddenly failed to escape. Xiao Guai panicked. She hadn't encountered such a situation. It immediately changed into the shape of a white wolf and made a woo sound in his mouth. Jiang Ziachun regained his human form and said to her, wait a minute. Kid, don't be afraid, I don't want to hurt you. Xiao Guai is still on guard. But Jiang Ziachun is trying to get closer to her slowly. Look. My hands are up, I won't attack you. Xiao Guai looked at her suspiciously, not understanding why she did it. On the other side, Song Yunwu asked Ximen Qing, what shall we do? Ximen Qing shook his head, just watch it. Finally, Jiang Ziachun touched Xiao Guai's wolf head, and she gradually comforted Xiao Guai. Xiao Guai didn't understand why the person in front of her did this, but she was still very curious about someone with the same ability as herself. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat? Jiang Ziachun tried to recall the way he coped with children. Eat. Xiao Guai's eyes changed when he heard something to eat, and the tail behind him began to swing vigorously. Ximen Qing covered her eyes. She will be abducted in the future. It seems that she should be taught what it means not to eat strangers casually. Song Yunwu disapproved. Xiao Guai is more sensitive than us, and her intuition can roughly judge the other's kindness and malice. She is willing to eat, which means that she can't feel the other's malice. Jiang Ziachun checked Professor Jin and found out that he simply passed out and ignored him. The carpet in the hotel is quite soft anyway. She brought Xiao Guai to her room, gave her a fruit plate, and then ordered some dishes. Xiao Guai sat on the chair and looked at the room curiously. Jiang Ziachun squatted in front of her and looked at her carefully, like it was too much like herself when she was young. Child, what's your name? Xiao Yu. Xiao Guai never forgot her assassin's persona, and reported that it was her assassin's code name. How old are you? 13. Jiang Ziachun asked again, where is your home? Who are there? Xiao Guai won't answer her this time. Jiang Ziachun was not in a hurry when she saw this, and then asked her, do you know who your parents are? Xiao Guai shook his head and continued to eat by himself. Jiang Ziachun has basically confirmed that Xiao Guai should be her lost granddaughter. 13 years ago, her son married a classmate he knew at the university, and at the same time gave birth to a little boy with another woman. As a family that has been passed down from the Qing dynasty, many habits have been retained, such as marriage. They have never accepted the concept of monogamy since they were young. Xiao Guai's father was not conscious of cheating at all, and his feelings for his wife have not changed from beginning to end. But the other party is an only daughter who has grown up in modern society. Her parents have grown up accustomed to her, And she has developed a self-centered character that cannot tolerate a grain of sand in her eyes. This conflict of ideas directly caused the cup. The woman pretended to be nonchalant on the surface, but she dragged her husband and Xiaoguai's biological mother to death in an unexpected situation. The Jiang family thought Xiaoguai had also been poisoned, but they never thought that the woman had miscalculated. Originally intended to let Xiaoguai feed the wolf, but the wolf raised Xiaoguai instead. Although Jiang Ziechun has thought that his granddaughter may not die these years, he has no direction to look for. Before coming to Xiaokong City, she never expected to meet Xiaoguai in this way. Xiaoguai's abilities show that she is a member of the Jiang family. From the perspective of A, only Jiang Ziechun's granddaughter can match the number. Coupled with her appearance, Jiang Ziechun can almost be sure of her identity. Jiang Ziechun, who had never been with her granddaughter, didn't know how to face her, so she took out her mobile phone and sent messages to her old classmates for help. How to get along with my granddaughter? Wait online. Anxious, Lai Zhengyi, give me money, food and drink for fun. In any case, just give me whatever I like. Jiang Ziechun immediately followed suit. Xiaoguai is honest, she won't run away if she has food. Why are you hitting that grandpa? Jiang Ziechun wanted to inquire about the current situation of some Xiaoguai. She thought Professor Jin and Xiaoguai knew each other. As a result, Xiaoguai stared at the roast duck on the table for a while and said, "It's a task, the nest is like a pigeon killer." She tried to make herself look cold, killer. Jiang Ziechun looked at her in surprise, shocked but also a little angry. Who trained his granddaughter to be a killer? But it's not right if it is really a killer. It would be too unreliable. Why did you slip away after a beat? With the abilities shown by Xiaoguai, it is easy to kill Professor Jin, who just woke up from the floor. Suddenly felt a chill. What's the matter? It hurts my face. Jiang Ziechun is talking to Xiaoguai here. www. Novel MTL. Tilde on the other side. Phantom has started to search the entire hotel. The highest combat power sent by the Jiang family this time is in this hotel. It is impossible for them to safely let the national treasure out of their control. So both the national treasure and the person who brought it back should be in this hotel. But Diamante switched the angle of view more than 10 times and could not find the target. This is strange. He searched the entire hotel up and down, and there was no reason to find no one unless the target is where he didn't go. Then there is only one place left, Jiang Ziechun's room. The only person who can make Diamante jealous this time is Jiang Ziechun alone. So he searched for her room. But now it seems that the target should be there. Just as Jiang Ziechun was ordering, he switched his mind to the waiter who delivered the food and planned to sneak into her room to observe. After he entered the room, he saw Jiang Ziechun watching a little girl eating. There is nothing wrong with that focused gaze. It's this little girl. According to the information held by Diamante, this time the national treasure was brought back to the flower country by a master of disguise. He has been lurking in the United States for many years and has changed more than 50 identities in order to regain the treasures lost many years ago. Is it possible to even become a little girl? It seems that he is an evolutionary, but it is a pity. Diamante thought in his heart that Jiang Ziechun could turn into water. This ability restrained him. But the disguise master in front of him was different. The receiver has been buried in the food by him. As long as the little girl in front of him eats it, he can control her at that time. It will be easy to kill her or destroy the national treasure. There is something wrong with this waiter. Song Yunwoo was hidden in the corner. So he saw the change in the hidden expression of the waiter possessed by Diamante. What's wrong where? Xiamen Qing didn't notice it at all. Song Yunwoo said, the biggest feature of the Phantom is that there is no trace. Almost no one has seen him. Is it possible that he can become someone else? It's very possible, Xiamen Qing nodded. But how do you verify it? Look at his next move, he has nothing to do with us anyway. The two of them only care about Xiaoguai. As for national treasures, they really didn't think much about it. Xiaoguai is a little dazzled to see so many delicious foods. She doesn't know what to eat anymore. Jiang Ziachun was very happy, eat more, eat more. She is like an ordinary grandmother at the moment. Diamantihu was in the waiter's body. Watch Xiaoguai eating the meatballs with his receiver. And the corners of his mouth couldn't help raising a triumphant smile. It's done. However, it was this smile that exposed his flaws. He still underestimated Jiang Ziachun, who is also the most powerful person in Jiang's family. How could her observation ability be comparable to ordinary people? When the waiter smiled, she noticed something was wrong. She immediately summoned a water chain to bind it. Who are you? Diamanti was surprised. But because the receiver had been eaten by Xiaoguai, he was not afraid. Instead, he smiled proudly. Who do you think I am? Phantom. Jiang Ziachun actually had the answer in her mind. The one who can come to Hua country to do things in this extraordinary period is probably the legendary king of killers. But he doesn't seem to be much better. He will be subdued in no time. Jiang Ziachun became more vigilant in her heart. Her experience told her that things would never end like this. Just when she was suspicious, the waiter suddenly passed out in a coma. Diamanti gave up control of this body and wanted to be possessed by the little boy. However, the little boy who noticed the abnormality instantly turned into water and expelled the receiver from his body. She changed into a human form again. Her fingers pinched a drop of water. In the center of the drop was a tiny nano-sized robot that could not be seen clearly with the naked eye. She only perceives the existence of the receiver relying on the sensor of water. Click. Xiaoguai didn't know what this was. But she couldn't make a mistake about the obvious hostility. So she destroyed the little robot directly. What? In the hotel next to the train station, Diamanti fell to the ground bleeding. It was not only his receiver that Xiaoguai crushed just now, but also the consciousness he had pinned in the receiver. Diamanti never thought that Gonggong's water was so pure that even consciousness could not penetrate. So much so that he just wanted to change to another body. But he had no choice but to watch Xiaoguai destroy the receiver. He is now almost equivalent to half of his soul destroyed. And his internal injuries are extremely serious. How could it be so unlucky? That little girl actually belongs to Jiang's family. Diamanti pressed her head and groaned in pain. Before I came here, I obviously memorized all the information of Jiang's family. And she didn't have her at all. Yes, what the asterisk is going on? He knows very well that his current state is not suitable for continuing the separation of consciousness. He has to soak his consciousness carrier in a special nutrient solution to repair it for a while. I am the king of killers, how could I give up so easily? Fortunately, the preparation of the nutrient solution is not troublesome. He casually went to the pharmacy downstairs to buy some common medicine. Then went to buy some fruits. And started to prepare when he returned to the room. First, the particles in the cold medicine capsule. Then the Bezor detox table sand, then some orange peels. Cherries. This is also a black technology. In fact, it is his superpower that really works. As long as the specific materials are almost nutritious. He adds these only purely personal preferences. Diamanti opened his chest and took out a small cube with a side length of 3 cm. His body is actually a cyborg. And his consciousness carrier is placed in this body. His ability must be within 5 kilometers to be effective. So he had to be brought to the flower country. Fortunately, this place is hidden. No one would have thought that the world's #1 killer would hide in this place. The little cube he took out was the carrier. So he soaked it in the prepared nutrient solution. And his unconscious body immediately fell on the sofa. Oh comfortable Diamanti felt the restoration of the soul and groaned from the soul. Original based on his character. It was impossible to repair in such a place. But this task is very important. So he has no choice but to repair his soul as soon as possible. Soul repair can be completed in 1 hour. This cyborg body has been set for 1 hour and then the carrier will be put back into the body. He had told the boss not to disturb him. And the door was locked tightly. There should be no surprises, however. Just as he was immersed in the pleasure of soul restoration, a group of police officers suddenly came under the hotel. Sweep pornography, just be honest with me, OWWW. Novel MTL, how can you sweep this new year? The hotel owner was dumbfounded. He was obviously related, but he didn't even know this time. Someone called the police just now that someone is knocking on your door to ask if there are special services. The police officer leading the team said, "Oh, what's all this?" The hotel owner guessed it all. And 80% of the guests didn't negotiate the price and simply reported the special service. The police went straight to the room provided by the informant. And as expected, they caught a couple who had just fallen in love at first sight and were about to break up soon. This movement was not small, causing many tenants to open the door and wait and see. The girl next door to Diamante also opened the door and watched curiously. She looked at the closed door, thinking about thanking others in the past. As a result, the door of the locked room was opened by her lightly twisting it. This is of course not because of her strength, but simply because the boss is a profiteer and the lock is broken for a long time and has not been repaired. Diamante seemed to be locked, but in fact the door just couldn't be opened from the inside. Just open it from the outside. The girl entered the room and found Diamante lying on the sofa with some medicine on the table. "Are you sick?" She looked at the nutrient solution contained in the soup bowl she had just bought, and clearly smelled of oranges. "This is to make juice. Since you are so good, I should also repay you." The girl thought so she brought a fruit juicer in the room and poured all the liquid in the soup bowl into it. "Do you press this?" While reading the instructions, she didn't notice that a cube was mixed in the liquid, Chinese letter ZZZ. The juicer started to spin. In Jiang Ziachun's room, she watched Xiaoguai squeeze the receiver and guess something. Is this the truth about Phantom? Some things are like magic, and they feel mysterious and abnormal before being exposed. Like superpowers. But once you know the technique, you will feel but so. Phantom has always been the internationally recognized king of killers. Except for its large-scale lethality, it is considered to be no different from the 8 evils in all aspects. Everyone is awe-inspiring by the wind. Jiang Ziachun also made a lot of psychological preparations when he took this task. However, when she really confronted her, she found that the abilities of Phantom were not as powerful as everyone thought. What really created the king of killers should be Phantom's cautious character, meticulous intelligence, investigation, and careful deployment. Instead, his abilities are only added. However, it is very unfortunate that he encountered the only Jiang family bloodline missing from his profile today. If he knew that Xiaoguai was also an evolutionary of the Jiang family, he would never drill into her belly so recklessly. So the whole hotel tonight, so many people controlled by him at will. The damage it can cause is incalculable. Xiaoguai doesn't know what phantoms are not phantoms. This sudden attack also made her react. And she can't stay in this place anymore. Children cannot sleep too late, so. While Jiang Ziachun was shocked, she jumped directly from the window. Wait a minute. Jiang Ziachun wanted to stop her too late. Xiaoguai's speed is not slower than her, and she was caught by her at first because she didn't expect her to be so strong. Jiang Ziachun looked at the figure disappearing in the snow and immediately chased it out. However, a voice suddenly sounded in the room. "Deputy Bureau Jiang. Where are you going to go?" Jiang Ziachun lived in the presidential suite, and the woman who was talking was the woman who opened the door and walked out of one of the suites. She is probably in her 30s. She has an ordinary appearance and a very ordinary dress. She belongs to the kind of woman whose head back rate equals 0 on the street. Jiang Ziachun looked at her, thinking of the national treasure she brought back. Tangled up a bit but finally did not chase it out. Anyway, I already know my appearance. I can look for my granddaughter later. But the national treasure must not be lost. No one can guarantee that the phantom will not make a comeback. The woman looked at the waiter who had passed out and said to Jiang Ziachun, "You'd better have the entire hotel check it out. Maybe everyone has some foreign bodies mixed in." Jiang Ziachun nodded and immediately ordered someone to deal with it. What happened after Ximen Qing they didn't know. They were not interested in this national treasure incident from the very beginning. And when Xiaoguai left, they naturally didn't need to stay. The two of them finally breathed a sigh of relief when they sent Xiao Guai safely all the way home. Haith charter wife Ximen Qing asked Song Yunwu, "Will that woman find out that Xiao Guai lives here? It should Beth Jiang family has this ability." Song Yunwu thought for a while and said, "But it's okay. None of them want to take Xiao Guai, yeah." Ximen Qing nodded her head straight when she heard it. Such a cute little Lolita would help herself to make videos. And Ximen Qing could not bear to be taken away. "If it doesn't work, just move you out, huh." Ximen was taken aback and pointed to himself, "Me. Hey, are you kidding me? She knows how many caddies she owns and she knows her best. Saying that she is the 8 evil spirits. In fact, she has one serving of food now. Once the seal is lifted out though, the lethality is fierce. She can't control it at all. Maybe it will lead to irreversible consequences. So she will never lift it under such a prerequisite. Using her name of 8 evil spirits to bluff people really makes her very guilty. Why are you so afraid of death?" Song Yunwu said while changing her slippers. "At any rate, it's also an 8 evil, can you just save face? I yearn for a nanny more than face." For a period of time after, the days in Ziliang Demon Village were still calm. But it seemed like a typhoon of dozens of levels blew outside. The king of killers has fallen in the flower country. No one expected this. This confrontation between the two strongest countries in the world can be said to have attracted much attention. All parties are considering the issue of standing in line in the future. The US sent out the Killer King undoubtedly to express their determination to win. It's not that no one had expected the Phantom to fail. After all, it was Huaguo. But no one expected that the uncrowned king under the 8 evil spirits would die like this. According to intelligence, it was a killer named Cao Yue who killed the Phantom. Who is Xiao Yu? Few people in the world know. It's a completely unknown person, however. She actually has the ability to kill Phantom. And she is also a killer by profession, of course. She was regarded by the outside world as the trump card of Huaguo. With the killer versus the killer, Huaguo was even better here since then. The position of the king of killers has fallen to Xiao Yue. She became the #1 killer in the world. And what is the #1 killer doing at this time? She is doing homework. Reading www.ukanshu.com. After Tang Xiaoteng came back from New Year's greetings, he came to Xiaoguai to make up for the winter vacation homework. The schoolwork of primary school students now is really heavy. This is under the premise that Tang Xiaoteng's parents and Ximen Qing didn't give them any interest classes or cram schools. 2 children on by one. And a pile of thick winter homework papers. All felt panicked when they saw Ximen Qing, fortunately. "I don't have to read," she sighed while biting a tomato. "Now if I do my homework me head will explode," snapped. A slipper hit her head. "Steal my tomatoes again. Don't you have money yourself?" "Money, it's all spent," Ximen said with emotion. "Why do you spend so much money so quickly?" Song Yunwu knew that she sold the sketches. "You will let me take care of the money in the future, so that you don't use it indiscriminately, huh?" Ximen Qing felt that she had become a housekeeper, and she would have to learn how to hide private money in the future. The rhythm of the spring festival is fast. After visiting relatives and friends for a while, time comes to the Lantern Festival without knowing it. Television stations in major cities are actively preparing for the Lantern Festival Gala. Professor Jin has been staying in Xiaokong City since the Phantom incident more than 10 days ago. Because an old friend here invited him to watch the Lantern Festival Gala on Xiaokong TV station. "Oh Lao Jin, what's the matter with your face?" Xiao Guai had been cruel. And Professor Jin's face still has some bruises that have not faded. Professor Jin said depressed, "I don't know. I walked in the corridor that day, and then my eyes went dark. When I woke up, my face became like this. I don't know which asterisk is scheming me at the same time." A young man in the capital sneezed hard. "Ah. Who is talking about me?" Feng Luo is a freshman in high school. He lives in Beijing. He has average grades, average appearance, average stature, and is addicted to the second element. But the family is very rich. During the winter vacation, the family hired him a tutor. At first he actually refused. High school is already so busy. Who can stand up with another tutor but? When he saw the teacher, he looked at the sweater that was held up high. And he didn't object to it. Who can stand it tilde? This tutor is the daughter of Feng Luo's mother's colleague. The two have a good relationship. And even invited her to spend the new year together at home. Later he learned that the teacher is a single-parent family. And her father works outside during the Chinese New Year. So every Chinese New Year is alone at home. On the first day of the New Year, the family went out to pay New Year's greetings. When they came back to see the teacher sitting alone in front of the piano in the evening, he suddenly felt very distressed. Feng Luo suddenly remembered that a while ago in a group called Two-Dimensional Salted Fish Concentration Camp, an administrator had mentioned a website called God's Prank. He was also one of the administrators of this group. And he ridiculed at that time, saying that this link must be a bunch of yellow pictures. But then a member of the group said that she tried it. And this website turned out to be real. After being suspicious, he chatted with that group member in private and asked about the website. Then, he logged in God's Prank based on the instructions of his group friends. He turned over the photo of Mr. his father in her circle of friends. And the place where he left off was also out of her mouth. Finally, he chose the executive officer Xiaoyu recommended by the group of friends. A few days later, he really learned from his mother that the teacher's father was beaten to a blossoming face. He was so happy at the time. Of course, he still wanted to hold back on the surface. He comforted the teacher, and then turned around and gave Xiaoyu a set of 5-star praise plus rewards combo. Old man, dare to make my wife cry, this is the price. Is the second year of middle school. He brazenly calls his teacher wife in his heart. Lantern Festival. The teacher still spent time with their family. Feng Luo originally held a bowl of glutinous rice asterisk for the teacher to eat. But as soon as he walked in front of her, he sneezed and added an aniseed to the glutinous rice balls. This is embarrassing, I'll change you a bowl. He wanted to look back quickly, wait a minute. The teacher yelled to him. Then took out a handkerchief and wiped his face. There is heating in the house, don't run outside. Otherwise it will be easy to catch a cold. Feng Luo, who was treated so tenderly, nodded in a daze. In fact, there was already a villain in his heart. Her handkerchief, it's her handkerchief. Her hand touched my face, yeah, oh yeah, behind. Feng Luo's mother was whispering to Feng Luo's father, the child. His father seems to be doing something wrong. My plan has succeeded. If Lao Jin comes back and knows, he will beat you. It's okay, I'm a woman, he didn't dare to beat you at most. Changed a bowl of new glutinous rice balls. And the four of them sat in front of the TV to watch the Lantern Festival Gala. But the main TV station's programs are getting more and more out of touch with the times. It's really boring to look at. After a while, my father couldn't help but change channels. Are we getting old? Now these things are made for young people, Dad. You are afraid that you have a misunderstanding of young people. So we won't like this kind of thing. When it was transferred to Zia Kongtai, it happened to be the skit selling crutches. Big flicker, hearing this line. Feng Luo immediately thought of the short story that Kinger teacher had put on Weibo. In fact, it has an unknown identity that is. The dance teacher's urge to change the party. He likes to go to the Weibo of the two teachers of Wuking to remind him if he has nothing to do. It's all about the input method. Feng Luo's father was about to continue to switch channels. Feng Luo quickly stopped. Wait a minute to look at this. Is this interesting? Maybe. Feng Luo couldn't be sure. While watching the sketch with his family, he turned on the phone and was in the group at Chinese letter P-E-O-P-L-E. All come out, look at Zia Kongtai. Wuking teacher's cartoon is on TV. There is an immediate reply below, damn really. I thought this comic was like a skit at the time. I didn't expect someone to act it, hey. You are all watching in front of the TV. I just sit under the stage and watch the scene, fuck. Big guy bull beer, no need to brag about drafts. If you don't believe me, I fell down. I was still photographed by the camera just now. Feng Luo glanced at the TV subconsciously. Just as the camera shifted to the audience applauding. Damn! He saw that the teacher's father was sitting in the front row at this time. And the bruise on his face could not be wrong at this time. The teacher next to him looked at him suspiciously. Do you know my dad? No, I don't know. I said I'm comfortable leaning on the sofa. Although the audience rating of the Lantern Festival Gala is not as good as that of the Spring Festival Gala, and it is still a local TV station, selling kidnapping still caused a certain range of discussions. This is no longer limited to the second dimension. This sketch is really interesting. www. Novel MTL. Com tilde even older people will like it very much. And those who know the comics, whenever they hear someone talking about selling crutches, they will triumphantly go over it. You don't know in fact. This sketch is based on the comics. He pretended to be forceful. Don't you know this sketch is actually? The comics are adapted, I know. Chin Yuo said to her classmates. I still drew some of these comics, damn. That Wang Shu is really you, the classmate exclaimed. I always thought it just looked like. Chin Yuo picked up the juice, then pulled down the scarf and took a sip without saying much. What did Simon say? Oh, invisible pretense, the most deadly. It has been half a month since she returned to her hometown. The relatives who should be visiting had already finished her work. Now she was called out by the junior high school classmates to hold the class reunion. In this winter she was wearing a knitted hat, a scarf pulled high under her nose, and a pair of non-lens black-rimmed glasses. Generally speaking, she really didn't recognize that she was the cartoonist Wang Shu. But she didn't mean to conceal it. It was spread all over the place among her classmates. Chin Yuya, are you really a cartoonist? Several people gathered around. I remember that you used to keep bottom of art classes with me. Where did you go to makeup classes after 9 years of compulsory education? What are you doing so tightly? Isn't your photo P? How could it be so beautiful? Yes, I'm old classmates. Let everyone see, but your skin is really good. Chin Yuya pushed halfway and took away the scarf and spectacle frame. The air in the KTV room suddenly fell silent, as if a waiter had come in suddenly. In fact, people's aesthetics are very strained, and sometimes a little change can cause a big difference in appearance. Chin Yuya actually doesn't know how beautiful she is now. She looks in the mirror every day and doesn't think she has changed. Still the same as before. But these old classmates who hadn't seen her for a long time were all dumbfounded. I want to say something has changed, and I really can't tell. I feel that Chin Yuya is the same as before. At most, from a junior high school student to a college student. Is attractive, regardless of whether the boys have girlfriends or not. Their heartbeat speeds up unconsciously. Unconsciously focus on her face. People are yearning for beautiful things. Just looking at her will make you feel happy. As if the whole world is becoming better. Chin Yuya immediately pulled on her scarf again. If she didn't pull it again, the reunion would not be able to continue. It's just that she didn't use her charm ability. Suddenly, Chin Yuya realized that she had indeed become incompatible with ordinary people. With these old classmates, it is better to come with a few roommates in Ziliang Demon Village at ease. So she refused the transfer invitation and returned home early. Lying on the bed, Chin Yuya opened her eyes to do nothing and couldn't sleep. Simply took out his cell phone and called Xiamen Ching. Hello Xiao Rao, do you miss me? Hearing this familiar voice, Chin Yuya curled up her mouth unconsciously. Sister Xiamen. How long will you call my name wrong, or there? Oh, don't care about these details. When will you be back? Tomorrow. I miss you, then the relationship is good. You can come back soon. Xiao Agui and I are almost tortured by the Rentinlaw's dark food. At this time, there was a sudden ringing from the other end of the phone, during which it was mixed with the screams of Xiamen Ching and Song Yunwu's roar. Is my food unpalatable? You hate it, then don't eat it. Idiot zombie. Chin Yuyo just listened, with a satisfied smile on her face. After the Lantern Festival, the year is officially over. The opening time of most schools will be arranged after the Lantern Festival. The sales of entertainment products such as comics and novels will also pick up. During the Chinese New Year, some comics chose to suspend the publication, but the Weekly Squat did not do so. Whether it is Dragon Babu, the King of Thieves, I'm really not a big brother. All are serialized according to the original rhythm. The 8 parts of the dragon mainly tells the story of the third protagonist. Suju. It is also quite interesting. After accepting the inheritance from him, he first rescued the Tiantian child grandma by accidentally hitting him. And then he was chased and killed by Li Qiushui to the Zixia palace. During the mysterious sect of Xiaoyao school gradually unraveled a corner of the veil. Readers suddenly discovered that this school is too hungry. 3 disciples. One is the master of Ding Chunqiu and Su Xing. Setting the Zhenlong chess game stumped countless people. One is the lord of Lingjiu Palace, who rules 36 holes and 72 islands. There's also the queen mother of Zixia. Yipentang is under her control. These 3 people. Just take out a person who is the final boss. Think about the beginning of the Boundless Sword sect, which was on the verge of being destroyed by a small Shenong gang under the Lingjiu Palace. The supreme profundity of their martial art is nothing more than some furs learned from the shadow of Waiazi and their sword practice. Duan Yu just learned a pulse of Beiming's divine art, and then took a set of Lingbo microsteps and it became a stubborn force. Qmaji was forced to perform Shaolin's 72 stunts in Tianlong Temple because of his little inactive power. Tiantian Tongmao's 8 Desolation and 6 Harmony. I only respect merit can be rejuvenated. Mom, this is too high right for a time. There was an endless stream of discussions on the Xiaoyao school on the internet. Some people try to find the source of the Xiaoyao school from other works such as Xiaoyao. And some people think that the leader of the conspiracy theory must also be the Xiaoyao school. Otherwise, the 3 brothers will have nothing to do with the Xiaoyao school. How lonely apart from these. Suju's own experience is also the envy of many netizens. First received 70 years of skill at once, and was directly promoted from a novice to full level. Then I ran into another big boss and taught him how to do it. It was like sending a top skill book after that. There are a large group of brothers from 36 caves and 72 island. The key is to give away a wife in the middle. Readers have expressed their hope to join the Xiaoyao school, even as a named disciple as long as the wife is assigned. The requirements are not high. Just like Menggu is a beautiful and rich woman. I used to think that Duan Yu's falling off the cliff and picking up treasures was the ultimate in obscenity. Who would have thought that Wuking teacher slapped me in the face? And the facts proved that there is no one that is the most aggressive. Only more aggressive. I don't want to work hard anymore. I would like to introduce a grandma who is like a child in Tiantian to send my wife. Made martial arts and industry one stop. Compared to Suju, I am actually happier that Azzy has finally become blind. And this poisonous woman has finally received retribution. And just as the popularity of Dragon Babu is getting higher and higher www. Novel MTL. The weekly squat suddenly announced that there are only the last 3 serializations left in this comic. This time the comic circle was blown up, and it immediately sparked a round of intense discussion. Weibo Hot Search List, XX Browser Hot Search List, and even some other irrelevant Taiba forums are full of discussions about this comic. According to the truth, such a hot comic can be serialized for a long time. It is not surprising that it has been serialized for more than 10 or 20 years. The commercial value of this can be seen by anyone with a little bit of relevant experience. No one thought that the weekly squat would be willing to let such a pillar end. Regarding this squat's editor-in-chief is also bitter. All the colleagues thought he was stupid. But in fact it was not. The Wuking teacher was too self-willed. And it was over when he said it. And he didn't discuss it with the editor at all. When he came back for the Lantern Festival and saw the contents of the last 3 issues, he was shocked. Is the plot exciting? Absolutely wonderful. He has been in the industry for so many years and he has seen so many works. This is definitely the end of the top 3, it's amazing. But this dry stuff is too much if you change other authors. The content can be at least 2 or 3 years on the water. Dancing Love. Why are they willing to slaughter this golden egg chicken like this? He tried to discuss with Wu Qing. But Song Yunwu didn't care about the plot at all. While Ximen Qing refused to water. There are so many works in her mind. There is no need to ruin the quality of Dragon Babu for a little money. Think about One Piece on the Earth. It is obviously the world's #1 manga. But what kind of animation is it made in order to make money? The behavior of these businesses is really ugly. Simon Ching would never want to be like that. You just let them rest assured. I won't be able to live with the money, Simon Ching said to Song Yunwoo, wearing a bellyband embroidered with peony. Lying on the sofa with Ji-yu lying down, Song Yunwoo said. But you haven't given me the script of the new comic yet. Isn't there too much things these days? Simon King sighed weakly. I feel uncomfortable when I think of going to work in a few days. In this big winter, the wives are all dressed up and there is no beautiful scenery at all. Simon Ching couldn't afford to go to work. It's uncomfortable. You put on your clothes anyway. Song Yunwoo glared at her. If you only wear one piece like this again, I will add your rent. Why is it just one piece? Simon Ching is not happy anymore. Haven't you seen my stockings and this? You can't look down on it just because it has less cloth. This is to apologize to the asterisk of the world you know. Go to hell. Song Yunwoo felt that he couldn't argue with this guy. Otherwise he would lose his IQ. She went back to the room and prepared to draw some fan pictures of Tian Long Ba Bu and put it on Weibo. As a result, when I opened the door, I found a document bag hanging on the doorknob between the sky and clouds. She opened it up. Her expression was surprised at first, and then turned into a knowing smile. This idiot zombie has already been written. At this time, Simon Ching was talking to herself downstairs. Almost the charter wife should have discovered it too. This time I specially selected a muscle story for her. Click. Just then the door was suddenly opened, and back. Chin Yuyao dragged the suitcase and walked in. Oh. Xiao Ryo, you're back. Simon Ching immediately jumped up from the sofa and ran towards the hall. Come on, let my sister have a check on her body. Chin Yuyao would naturally not let her eat tofu like this. She proficiently stretched out 9 tails and bound Simon Ching firmly. Oh, you let me go, right? You have changed. You are no longer the cutie who pestered me for French wet kisses. That's probably something wrong with your memory. Chin Yuyao vomited. I definitely won't say that kind of thing. Why? I'm not pretty enough, or do you have high-sightedness? Simon Ching pretended to be bitter, and I was pitiful. But Chin Yuyao has long been used to it, sister. I think you can consider becoming an actor. No actresses are subject to unspoken rules, Simon said with suspicion. Chin Yuyao didn't know what her brain circuit was. After carrying the suitcase back to the room with Simon Ching, she said to Simon's sister, Simon, I have finished drawing the second part of JoJo. When will you give me the first part 3? Simon Ching did not answer directly, but leaned against the door pretending to be very disappointed. I am in your eyes. Is just a script writer. You only think of me at this time. My life is so sad. Sister Simon, do you still say you don't like acting? Chin Yuyao resolutely complained. I think you can make a movie by just recording and editing your daily life. I understand, Simon Ching suddenly. It turns out that you want to be a director, Ru Yao. So you can unspoken rules for others, right? You can't hide from my detective Simon, to be honest. You didn't even match the punctuation marks. Chin Yuyao spit out casually while tidying up her clothes. Sister Simon, how do I feel that you are more excessive than usual after the Chinese New Year? Simon said in love, this can't blame me. Who left your shelf life for the last few months? I will hurry up and strike a spark of love with you when you were a female college student. Chin Yuyao sighed for a long time. As expected, the delusion became more and more serious. At this time, just follow Song Yunwoo's words and ignore her. Simon didn't respond when she saw her in love, and gradually lost his interest. Cricket, a few RBQs, you still want to rebel. I'm not happy, she puffed up and went to Xiaogui's room. Picked her up and rubbed her on her lap. And she was still obedient. Chin Yuyao saw that Simon Ching came downstairs. Could not help but said to Song Yunwoo, is she angry? It's okay, this idiot zombie is very coaxing. Song Yunwoo said, just leave her alone. Come and think about it with me. Several people in my new comic are undecided. New comics. Chin Yuyao suddenly became interested. What is it like? Tianlong Babu is about to end. These last few updates naturally attracted more people's attention. Everyone is very curious about how the dance teacher will end it with such a huge production. There are so many pits it won't be unfinished. As a web writer, Zai Yu is most worried about this. Liang Xinyu next to him patted her chest and assured him, "Oh. Definitely not www, novel MTL, I asked my girlfriend. And she said that the ending of Dragon is absolutely wonderful." Yeah. Zai Yu looked at her helplessly. "You don't need to go to work." "Didn't I tell you?" Liang Xinyu blinked. "I'm a cartoonist and I have flexible working hours." Zai Yu said, "The so-called flexibility. Shouldn't it be casual waves in ordinary times? And then continue to explode a few days before the final deadline." "Right, how do you know?" Liang Xinyu looked at him in shock. "Do you usually peep at me? Oh, it's so shameful. I'm taking a peek, I don't even know where you live." Zai Yu was speechless with this rhythm. He couldn't be more familiar with it. And it was probably the same for web writers. Liang Xinyu has been sticking to him since they met at the barbecue booth that day. Zai Yu was embarrassed to say too much to a girl, so she couldn't drive her away. Gradually, he felt that she was about to treat his house as her own. Sometimes he had to ask her to find a nail clipper, which was a terrible time. The two of them went to the newsstand to buy 2 magazines and read the latest issue of Dragon Babu. After Zaju took control of the Lingjiu Palace, he did not miss the power, but changed into a monk's robe and decided to return to Shaolin Temple to be punished. It happened that Kumaji came to Shaolin Temple to do things. Kumaji relied on his little Wuxian gong to show his majesty in Shaolin Temple. And the whole Shaolin Temple was bluffed by him. But I never thought that I would meet someone who was higher than him in the attainments of Zai Aoxiangong, who had been so high in the past at this moment. They all took chestnuts out of the fire and completed the virtual bamboo. This is not over yet, virtual bamboo is finished. And then it's Kaio Feng and Duan Yu's turn. The 3 brothers got together in Shaolin Temple because of various coincidences. At the same time, people from all walks of life also gathered. The final drama officially kicked off. The most exciting place in the 8 parts of Dragons and Dragons is the Shaolin Temple Heroes Conference. As long as all the characters who are still alive gathered here, conflicts broke out intensively, and the dramatic development reached its extreme in a short period of time. The mystery that has been paved for so long in front is all revealed here, pushing the story to its climax, however. Just when Zai Yu wanted to watch it with full expectation, he realized that there was nothing left behind. He howled uncomfortably. This place is too much. He felt a small hand tickling in his heart, and he couldn't stop it at this moment. He was finally able to experience the emotions of those readers who said he was out of context at the back of his novels. So he picked up his phone and went to the Weibo of Ximen Qing and Song Yunwu to express his dissatisfaction. "Teacher Wuking, please be your own person. Won't your conscience hurt in a place like this?" After reading it, there are indeed many readers who complain about the broken chapter, just like myself. Some said they wanted to send blades. Some said they wanted to send torches. And some said they wanted to send themselves. However, Ximen Qing and Song Yunwu were totally indifferent. And they did not post one on Weibo. No, it's wrong. Zai Yu originally planned to exit the interface. Whoever wanted to refresh at will. He actually saw a new Weibo posted by Ximen Qing. Regardless of 3721. He subconsciously grabbed a sofa, then looked at the content. At this look, a word Chinese letter popped out of his mouth. "What's the matter?" Liang Xinyu looked at him in surprise. Zai Yu pointed to the screen of the phone with a gritted teeth on his face and said, "Look. Is this what someone said?" "What?" Liang Xinyu leaned over to take a look. "I saw the latest Weibo posted by Ximen Qing. It's cool for a while. But it's always cool, this operation." Liang Xinyu opened her mouth wide and said after a long while, "This is how a great asterisk dare to say it. If I change my kind of small street fan, I am afraid that the fans will not be all lost, damn it." Zai Yu called uncomfortable. "I really want to know what happened next. I'm going to die if I don't watch Dragon Babu." Liang Xinyu saw this and said to him, "It doesn't matter. My girlfriend and Wuking teacher are very familiar. I will ask her, do you really know teacher Wang Shu?" Zai Yu is a little doubtful. But Liang Xinyu's WeChat has already been sent. Purple Star Bu, I'm asking you something. Do you know the plot behind Dragon Babu? Pokeface emoticon package. The storm is swaying, I know, what are you doing? Drinking juice emoji zixing Bu, tell me if you know you. This magazine is too ecstasy. I really want to know what happened next. Wind and rain, do you want to be spoiled? You are sick and unclear emoticon. Zixing Bu, just tell me briefly. Because I borrowed your aunt's towel last time. Wind and rain shakes, okay. Can you really ask about the plot behind? Zai Yu is also a little convinced now. Out of curiosity about the plot, he leaned over to see what the other party would say. In the next second, he saw a message as simple as 4 words, Xiao Feng is dead. Liang Xinyu wanted to ask more carefully. But Qin Yuyao refused to say any more. How could Xiao Feng die so powerfully? Who killed it? How did you kill it? Now there are more mysteries in Zai Yu's mind. It was still one hand just now. And now it seems that there are 100 scratching there. Some with the middle finger, some with the little finger. And some with the fingernail, it's better not to ask. On this day Zai Yu's whole body is out of state. Naturally the novel was not written. He simply sent a chapter of the request for leave. Not long after it was sent out, several articles appeared immediately in this chapter. I thought it was an update, but you showed me this. Are you embarrassed to ask for leave? Doesn't your conscience hurt? I've been waiting for so long, did you tell me not today? Looking at these messages, Zai Yu suddenly had an idea. And replied, asking for leave is great for a while. Please always be great. Liang Xinyu watched him do such a shameless thing from beginning to end. And it was no asterisk said, originally. She was still a urging party. But now what she wants to blow has been updated. Sister Ximen, you're playing with my phone again. Qin Yuyao sighed helplessly while watching Ximen Qing lying on her bed. Oh, it's okay, someone wants to be spoiled. So I just spoiled it a little bit. Ximen Qing changed her posture. And she was really unfriendly to the big-chested woman. You will get retribution like this. Qin Yuyao shook her head and continued to paint. Ximen Qing was able to enter her room because she used JoJo's third script as a bait. And she had no alternative but to let her occupy her bed. If this is a man or an ugly woman, Qin Yuyao will definitely reject it. But there is no way who makes her Ximen love www novel MTL. Tilde looks so beautiful. And what she has done will make people unable to forgive her. Qin Yuyao's attention now is more focused on the third part of JoJo. This is the subversive beginning of the entire series. And it is also a part of JoJo's devotion. Everything is due to the introduction of the concept of substitute. Superpowered novels and comics are not uncommon. But the setting of a substitute has its unique charm. First of all, stand-in was injured. And I also suffered the same injury, which is different from the general summoning type. Then there is the special ability of the stand-in. Almost every stand-in has obvious flaws. For example, the invincible Platinum Star will also have the weakness that the attack range is too short. What the stand-in messenger has to do is to maximize their strengths and avoid weaknesses. How to maximize their ability to improve has become a very test of IQ. This is not just a clash of fists and feet, but a battle of IQ. The victory or defeat is often within a single thought. And the degree of excitement is no worse than the wit of the second part. The story of is completely different from the previous two. But it is undoubtedly more exciting. Even if it hasn't been drawn yet. Qin Yuyao has already foreseen the grand occasion of the third fire. But why is the protagonist so serious this time? Qin Yuyao couldn't help wondering. Isn't the Josta family a gentleman from generation to generation? Why this time the protagonist smokes and speaks dirty words? And is locked in the police station when he comes out? Ximen King shrugged, who stipulated that he is not a good boy to smoke. Swear and beat the police. I tell you, San Kaio is definitely a gentleman. He will be a doctor in the future. Do I have any misunderstandings about the gentleman you are talking about? Qin Yuyao suddenly thought that in the second dimension. Gentleman seems to be used to describe another type of person. After rubbing on Qin Yuyao's bed for a while, Simon Ching went to Song Yunwoo's room again. In her words, this is called rain and dew. Otherwise, what if the charter-in-law becomes jealous? I'll eat your big head jealous. Song Yunwoo smashed Simon Ching directly with a slipper. Moving the floor clean, when I have nothing to do I'm busy. Simon King rubbed her forehead and said to her, how about? Do you like this new story? Song Yunwoo thought for a while. And said it's okay. It's just that the style is too far from that of Tian Long Babu. I don't know if it can be accepted, you can rest assured. This thing is not popular. I will broadcast the women's dance to the pure land of bliss. Simon Ching promised, patting his chest. Song Yunwoo just gave her a white look. What kind of punishment are you? Ugh. Simon Ching realized that she seemed to be in women's clothing every day. The bet she used most when the dragon was still alive was meaningless. Hey, she looked up at the sky at 45 degrees and said sadly. I should have had a big dragon with bright attributes. The out-of-chapter of Ximen's love made countless readers miss their food and drink. And spent a very tormenting week, but because of this, readers' enthusiasm for comics has increased. The latest issue has just begun to go on sale. And the physical stores are squeezed to the point of collapse. What about the decline of the good physical book industry? I am afraid it has experienced a false decline. Many bookstore owners are feeling emotional. As if they have seen the situation in the heyday of the paper media industry more than a decade ago. When the readers disperse, the books that cannot be sold still cannot be sold. Only Squat Weekly is out of stock, that's it. It's the result of the bosses making more money than before. They still underestimated the charm of Dragon Babu. Hello, do you have Weekly Squat? Zhao Zhenying ran to a large bookstore and asked. However, the clerk shook his head, sorry, it's sold out. Why are it sold out again? This is already the 8th store. And it turns out that every place is sold out. Although Zhao Zhenying's comics are also serialized there. He is very clear that the magazine's sales are good at most. Which is 5% of the relationship with him. And the rest is still on Dragon Babu. This comic is simply a miracle, readers are happy to see it. But what they see as practitioners are all business opportunities for blockbuster films. Now in the industry, who does not study Dragon? A group of longologists are almost developing. It's not that no one tries to follow the trend in painting. Martial arts is a very common subject. And some have succeeded in following the trend. But Zhao Zhenying really doesn't like that little success. If it's just making money, the comics he is drawing now will be enough for him. What he wants is fengshen. And it is his pursuit to get out of the circle like a dance. It's a pity that this kind of thing is too difficult. And the element of luck is also great in this industry. Everyone has a consensus that is. Your comic does not mean that your lower part can also be popular. And there is no rule to follow. He watched Dragon Babu more to increase his experience. Learning from others' strengths and bringing forth new ideas from the old is the basis for drawing a masterpiece. It's just that he can't even buy magazines now. So he can only pick up Loneliness. Hello, Edit Yang. I can't buy the latest Squad at all. Why didn't you keep a copy for me? Sorry. The editor Yang Yuan said to him on the other end of the phone. Teacher Ying Zheng, I originally kept it. But everyone came to ask me for a copy, but I got them all. Zhao Zhenying asked him suddenly, honestly speaking. Is it common to have such a comic? How is it possible to be common? This kind of divine work is a rare encounter in 10 years. But, such a hot work, why are they willing to end the dance? Zhao Zhenying was also puzzled, could it be the ant here? He went home while calling Gand after running so much. He had already given up, as soon as I arrived at the door. I saw a burly muscular man opening the door with a key. This is the first time Zhao Zhenying has seen this neighbor. And he has a fuck in his heart. It turns out that it is such a big guy who usually chokes with himself across the wall. He thought to himself, this guy can't hold his small body with a fist. And he will definitely not be recognized. So, while continuing to call, he turned around fluently as he passed his door, and then walked up pretending to be the resident upstairs. Just when he thought he had fooled him perfectly, suddenly a big hand was placed on his shoulder, Old Iron. You have gone too far, Zhao Zhenying was shaking at the time. His legs almost softened. He turned his head and squeezed a smile that was uglier than crying. Huh. My house is upstairs, what are you holding me for? Jin-ki sneered and said, pretend just your silly voice. I can hear you 2 miles away. You are here to pretend to be your horse with me, no www. Novel MTL, no you have identified the wrong person. Zhao Zhenying quickly lowered her voice. But it was useless. Jin-ki rubbed his punching fist and looked at him with a smile. Didn't you ask me to find the property management? Wouldn't you give it a little bit, it's really not me. Zhao Zhenying felt that she was afraid that she was going to die. At this moment, his eyes suddenly swept to what Jin-ki was holding, which turned out to be a squat weekly. Do you like reading manga too? He tried to bring the topic to other places. Jin-ki was also taken aback for a moment. Why? Muscle men can't like comics anymore. Are you biased against us? No, how could it be? Zhao Zhenying hurriedly said, you tell me. I'm actually a cartoonist, you draw a cartoon. Jin-ki smiled, just for your wretched look, draw Huang man. I look down on people like you the most. If you don't make a good story, you will only go wrong. As soon as Zhao Zhenying heard this, he immediately stopped doing it. Hey. I have a violent temper, you can insult my personality. But you can't insult my professional ethics. I am an ethical cartoonist, I never paint Huang man real. It's at most it's just getting naked butt. How can it be considered pornographic? Such a beautiful thing. Only those who have evil thoughts in their heart will think that it is pornographic. Zhao Zhenying's voice became more and more vague. Jin-ki hit the wall behind Zhao Zhenying with a punch. Scared him to shrink his neck quickly. He thought that the other party was angry. But he heard Jin-ki say loudly, well said. I admire you as a tall cartoonist, come commence it at my house. Let's talk about how you paint, which asterisk have you passed. Zhao Zhenying was taken into Jink's house in a daze. As a result, as soon as he entered, he was stunned. This is completely different from what I imagined. Why are there two-dimensional posters on all the walls from the living room to the bedroom? That is Platelet, that is Wang Yuyan, that is Jianyang. And that is the heroine of a comic he drew before. Look at the cabinet again. It's either a cartoon or a handmade one. It's just a large-scale exhibition site at this moment. The image of Jin-ki's fierce man suddenly collapsed in his heart. This Nima turned out to be a dead man. As soon as he thought of this, Zhao Zhenying didn't panic. Wow, isn't this a limited edition figure? I can buy them all. Yes, I just grabbed it the night before I went to line up. Chatting, the two unexpectedly talked about Hai. Jin-ki was also taken aback when he learned that Zhao Zhenying was actually a cartoonist with the pen name Ying Zheng. It turned out to be you, really. I always like your comics. But what happened when the last one was suddenly unfinished? Hey, accident, it's pure accident. I didn't expect the healthcare to be arrested. Incredible, this continued until the evening. When Jin-ki accidentally mentioned, by the way, Dragon Babu seems to be over. Do you know what new comics Wooking Teacher plans to release? I don't know, I'm not familiar with them. Zhao Zhenying shook her head. And it might be possible that their new work will be serialized in SQUTA. What's the matter? Jin-ki immediately came in interest. Zhao Zhenying said they signed a work contract. And the binding effect is only limited to Dragon Babu. When a new comic contract is released, it will have to be renegotiated, then talk about it again. Doesn't the publishing house want such a great god? If you definitely want it. But that group of people are not using love to generate electricity. They are all a group of businessmen, with their eyes fixed on money. Zhao Zhenying is also an old writer, knowing a lot about the doorway in it. When they were first serialized, they were still newcomers. So the publishing house took a big advantage in the distribution of benefits. Now they have to finish the old works and replace them with new comics. And the problem is coming. The upper level of Squat Press now has two opinions. One is to sign the dance sentiment anyway. Their current popularity is completely capable of making gods. In such a declining environment, Weekly Squat can forcefully rise against the trend, which is enough to prove the dance sentiment. The commercial value is great. The other is to be more rational. The main purpose of setting up a publishing house is not to pursue dreams or something. But to make money, everything is based on money, first of all. It is very difficult to replicate phenomenal works such as The 8 Parts of the Dragon. Even if it is Wu King himself. It is impossible to say 100% guarantee that the lower part of the work will become the same as The 8 Parts of the Dragon. This is a unified understanding in the industry. If the publisher signs them at a high price and then spends great effort to operate it, but the new work fails to achieve a certain result, the business will lose. So there is a very troublesome thing in it, that is how to distribute the benefits with Wu King to ensure that the publishing house can make a lot of money. This is not a simple 19128 and 37 that can be clearly stated. It is necessary to consider the risk and the input-output ratio, as well as other collateral effects. If Tianlong Babu is still serialized, there will be no trouble, mainly because of the uncertainty about the new dance. Take a look at their other work, Working Cell. The red is a bit red, but it is only a niche red. It can't be compared with Dragon Babu. As for the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that Ximen Qing and Wang Shu cooperated, it is similar, the quality is indeed high. And many people like it, but after all, it is still limited to a circle. And it has not reached the level of phenomenon. These businessmen are very realistic. Zhao Zhenying said, for profit. Sometimes they become crazy gamblers. But sometimes they are so cautious to die. Compared to 50% earning 1 yuan and 50% earning 100 yuan. They would rather choose 100% to make 10 yuan. Jin Qi's eyes were at a loss. And he didn't understand what Zhao Zhenying had said, so. Will teacher Wu King continue to publish new works? Zhao Zhenying realized that she had been playing the piano for a long time. And she couldn't help covering her forehead. Let's tell you that. They are still talking with the publishing house. If they can talk, they will continue to serialize in squat. There will definitely be other publishers to dig into the walls. After all, new comics will definitely be published. But it doesn't have to be the case if they continue to be serialized in squat. Oh, I understand what you say, Jin Qi nodded. The big deal is to buy a magazine, latter what's the big deal? In a usual sentence, Zhao Zhenying has already heard something hidden inside. Has the stickiness of dance fans reached this level? People are often lazy. Once you read www.ukanshu.com buys a magazine for a long time, it is very difficult to change it suddenly, therefore. The publishing house has changed one work after another, but it can still be popular. And the Cartoonist has changed the platform. The probability of passing is higher. Can allow readers to follow the Cartoonist. That is definitely a cartoonist who has a spiritual character can do it. Those old and cunning guys shouldn't be so stupid, right? Zhao Zhenying couldn't help but feel that he, a little cartoonist, came from such a big heart to worry about other capitalists. In fact, Squat Publishing House is actively preparing to sign a contract with Dance. When you signio must be sincere. The editor-in-chief Li Jing was calling the people below. It makes no sense to drive the chicken out of the golden egg. Because of the popularity of Tianlong Babu, he has now been promoted and he is still a triple jump. Squat Publishing House is a subsidiary of Heifeng Group. Compared with commercial aircraft carriers whose industries span multiple fields such as industry, medical care, film, and television and people's livelihood, the publishing house is nothing more than a carrier-based aircraft. That's it. Being able to enter the head office is definitely more promising than being the editor-in-chief of a subsidiary. Maybe it's because I read too many comics. After Li Jing was promoted, the biggest worry was whether the headquarters would send a brainless young master to guild. And then ran away the two gods of wealth in the end. Squat Publishing House became a material for people to make faces. Such stupid things must be avoided. Even though the publishing house has nothing to do with Li Jing, he has been paying attention to the follow-up development after he left. Fortunate Life head office is not stupid. And it doesn't do anything about it this time. He was transferred to take over by a very good talent. Talk about the contract. Ximen Qing pulled at the dead reservoir water on her body and said lazily, "Why don't you Gao-he, do you want me to go?" Nonsense, Song Yunwu glared at her fiercely. Who do you think burned my hair so that I can't see people? Didn't I give you a wig? Simon King grabbed the sole of his foot, then leaned under his nose and smelled it. It was okay, it smelled good, that thing is not good. It's too troublesome to wear and it's heavy, Song Yunwoo said. Anyway, it's up to you today. Anyway, you are so idle, I still have to draw comics. You do it all, Simon Ching said, if you use Taoism. You can still draw it. I can't improve my painting skills with Taoism. It's not that I can't use it in a hurry, Song Yunwoo urged. You quickly change your clothes. The location is in the cafe next to the subway station. It is said this time. The newly appointed editor-in-chief came to talk to us in person. New editor, male and female, Simon Ching frowned. It should be a man, Song Yunwoo said. Well, Simon Ching sat up from the sofa, I will go if I go. Song Yunwoo said in surprise, don't you hate men very much? Why did you take the initiative this time? Simon Ching shook his index finger and said. It is not men that I hate, but the men who come into contact with you. Instead of asking you to negotiate a contract with a man, I'd better go by myself. Song Yunwoo can't help but shook his head, for some reason. I'm going to draw a cartoon. You remember to change clothes. The current Simon Ching is wearing the same style of Xiaogui's primary school student Dead Reservoir Water, XXL. And she naturally shakes her at home. But if you don't mention it, Song Yunwoo is afraid that she will put on a windbreaker outside and go out like this. That's basically the same as an exhibitionist on TV, I see. Simon Ching changed his clothes and went out. Song Yunwoo was specially about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. During this time, the sun had already set and Simon Ching was completely free to move around. Gong Yanjun is 31 this year. Born in Fangmenjuan Vocational and Technical College in Beijing. After studying abroad, I got a PhD in finance from Yale University in the United States, and then returned to China to join the Heifeng Group. He was born as a civilian without any background support, and he used his talents to rise up all the way. At the beginning of this year, he was transferred to become the editor-in-chief of Squat Press. Squat is the leader of domestic comic magazine publishing houses. It is not easy to be the editor-in-chief here. Li Jing was 40 years old when he took this position. The editor-in-chief of the publishing house is also the editor-in-chief of Weekly Squat. As a matter of principle, this post should be for someone who has a certain understanding of the comic industry. There are no qualified talents. After considering for a while, he finally decided to use Gong Yanjun. He had a good performance in other companies. He once revitalized a subsidiary company that was on the verge of bankruptcy within 3 months. And his expectations were high. Gong Yanjun himself doesn't think there is a problem. Although he doesn't understand comics, the publishers still do business after all. And the basic routines are common. For example, he decided to come and negotiate a contract with Wuking because he saw the commercial value of Wuking. Before, many people were reluctant to give a high share of the dance sentiment. But he rejected all the opinions and asked for a very generous treatment. They are worth the price and I can give up the money. You think I am walking a tightrope. But what I see is a broad road. Those leaders were eventually persuaded by him and agreed to his proposal. The appointment time was 6 o'clock, and Gong Yanjun arrived at 5:30. He picked a position by the window and looked out the window with one hand on his chin. Aside, the trainee editor Su Jin is curiously looking at the new editor-in-chief. Gong Yanjun suddenly looked back at her. What are you doing looking at me? Su Jin immediately lowered his head shyly. No, I don't have one, Gong Yanjun pointed to the window and said. All the glass is reflected, huh? Su Jin flushed with shamish whispered, I'm just curious. I thought leaders like you would always work even in a coffee shop. Gong Yanjun chuckled, I'm not so incompetent that I can't even squeeze a cup of coffee. And if the dance teacher arrives and sees me answering the phone or tapping on the computer, wouldn't it be rude? Oh. Su Jin looked at Gong Yanjun's not so handsome but bookish face, and couldn't help but be puzzled. This is a successful person. Completely different from the little milk dogs in the school. The little wolf dogs. Time gradually came to 6 o'clock. When Simon Ching opened the door and entered the coffee shop, Gong Yanjun stood up for the first time. Ximen Qing saw the situation and realized that it was the person he was looking for. Novel MTL, tilde and came over. At this time Sujin reacted, "Ah yes, it's Teacher Kinger." Ximen Qing looked at the two people. A little girl about the same age as Qin Yuya. It was obvious that she was young. But the appearance is very good, standard oval face. Watery eyes and a small dimple on one side of the cheek. As for the other one, she didn't watch it much when she knew it was a man. This should be the new editor-in-chief, that Song Yunwoo said. "Teacher Kinger, please sit down. Miss Sayo will not come today." Gong Yanjun said with a smile. Well, Ximen Qing nodded. "She doesn't care about this, just talk to me, that's fine." Gong Yanjun motioned to Su Jin to take out a document and hand it to Ximen Qing. "This time I renew the contract. I have roughly sorted out our plans here. Please take a look at King, our teacher. What are you dissatisfied with? Of course. It is impossible to sign the document formally in a coffee shop. Today he came mainly to negotiate terms with Ximen Qing, and then formally drafted the contract before signing." Ximen Qing took a look and was a little surprised. "Oh. Your condition is definitely not fooling me. Is not too bad, but the treatment is too good. 3,000 per page of comics, 15% commission for single book. Plus animation film and television copyright fees. Peripheral sharing ek. The top comic gods don't necessarily have such a good treatment. Squat is really out of the blood this time. Are you really afraid that we are just a flash in the pan?" Simon couldn't help but be speechless. She originally thought that a publishing house opened by such a big capitalist would give very harsh conditions. But now that she sees the conditions he gave, she doesn't. "I am embarrassed to bargain." Gong Yanjun smiled and said, "I have never been stingy with the investment I should make. You are worth the price. You don't play cards like this, it's really big." Ximen Qing only feels that the preparation of a lot of rhetoric on the way here has become useless. Gong Yanjun smiled and said, "Please believe that we are very sincere." Ximen Qing looked at it again. And after confirming that there was nothing wrong with the terms, he said to him, "You also saved me a lot of time, it's good. Go back and prepare the contract." Before they said the word bar, a voice suddenly interrupted them. "Please wait a moment." Ximen Qing. Gong Yanjun and Su Jin looked at the voice at the same time. Except for Su Jin's face of doubt, Ximen Qing and Gong Yanjun both showed surprise. "Is it you?" Zhou Hong smiled and said hello to Gong Yanjun. "Long time no see." Gong Yanjun lightly sighed. "It's better not to see. Based on his understanding of this guy, nothing good will happen next." Ximen Qing looked at the two of them. "Do you know each other?" Zhou Hong smiled and said, "Of course. We slept in the same bed." Su Jin's eyes lit up at the side, and he kept watching back and forth between the two men. Gong Yanjun explained helplessly, "It's the upper and lower bunks of the university dormitory." Zhou Hong walked over to Su Jin and said to her, "Little beauty, can you give me a seat?" Su Jin quickly got up. Please sit down, please sit down." Gong Yanjun only felt big for a while. "Su. This is our competitor, are you polite?" Su Jin, who was immersed in the world of Tanmei, was taken aback, looking at the uninvited handsome man in front of him with a look of surprise. Zhou Hong was also in love with Ximen at this time. "Teacher Kinger, why don't you tell us about new comics? Anyway, we are also a cooperative relationship." Ximen said with affection, "Isn't there a JoJo serialized by you? Are you still not satisfied?" "Of course not enough." Zhou Hong said, "I am a greedy person, so I must be the first to do it. There used to be Tianlong Babu in the past, and I have nothing to do. But now that Tianlong is about to end, then I naturally want to push Squat down and sit in the first position." "Is that the reason you brazenly poach people in front of me?" Gong Yanjun took a sip of coffee and vomited blankly. "Oh, how do you do business if you want to face it?" Zhou Hong said shamelessly and then turned to Ximen Qing. "Teacher Kinger, based on my understanding of this guy, he must have given a high price. But I hope you listen to my offer, Ximen Qing looked at him curiously. "You said." To be honest, Gong Yanjun's price is already very sincere, with the addition of Squat's own status. If Zhou Hong only raises some prices, She is not prepared to agree, but he seemed confident. I saw Joe Hong put up 2 fingers, no matter what price he pays. We will all double it here, huh? Simon was taken aback for a moment. She pointed to the document in her hand and said, "Do you know what price they are giving me? So you dare to double it? If they split me 50-50, wouldn't you give me the money?" "Impossible," Joe Hong said with disdain. "I know what the old guys in Heifeng Group are like. The more bold the business, the smaller it becomes. They are a group of guys who are as stable as old dogs." "How did you know?" Simon King asked curiously. "There are some acquaintances at home like this." Joe Hongsui did not elaborate but instead said, "How?" "Teacher Kinger. I am confident that I will not lose to anyone in terms of sincerity. And regardless of the current size of Squat, it is actually just a castle in the sky. If we cooperate, we can surpass them in minutes." Simon Ching didn't feel angry when he heard that, and turned to look at Gong Yanjun. The latter was still drinking coffee calmly, but said to Simon, "Last year, the average sales volume of Squat was 12 million. With distribution channels all over the country and..." "Joe Hong, which publisher are you social?" Joe Hong laughed and said, "We started the publication of Young Man Friends for 3 months. The average weekly sales volume in the first month was less than 10. Last week our sales volume reached 250,000. The distribution channel at the end of last year. I went to an island country and reached a cooperation with Amazon's Asian branch. Except for China. All of Asia can buy our magazines through the internet. In China, it happened that an old classmate of mine worked at the senior level of Xinghua bookstore." Gong Yanjun's coffee drink paused. "The old classmate you are talking about. Isn't it the senior sister who was dumped by you back then?" "Oh, what was dumped by mate clearly dumped me." Joe Hung laughed. "She always felt ashamed of me. So I made a small request and she immediately agreed." "I hate cash." Simon Ching glanced at Joe Hong. "Why didn't this kind of young and golden woman who have a good relationship and good looks not explode?" Joe Hong made an innocent look. "Teacher www novel mtl. Com, please also hate me and don't hate, young man you. Are you a girl idol?" Simon couldn't help but complain. This guy couldn't tell that he was more than 30 years old. And he was horribly naive. But I have to admit that the conditions given by Joe Hong are very attractive. Although Squat has the largest distribution channel in China and the largest user base, what Simon Ching will produce next may not be affected by these factors. Instead, the Amazon mentioned by Joe Hong may still be useful. Amazon is an e-commerce platform in the US, with business all over the world. But Hyugyu and the others can't enter. After all, there is Taodo. They can only establish branches in island countries and expand their business in Asia. In other words, if you cooperate with Joe Hong, the comics of her and the charter wife are completely likely to be sold globally. Considering the manga to be drawn next, Simon Ching couldn't help but look at Gong Yanjun. "What do you say? In terms of sentiment, I am definitely more willing to cooperate with you. But the conditions are a bit worse. Please give me 10 minutes. Gong Yanjun got up and walked outside the store, taking out his mobile phone not knowing who to call. In the coffee shop, Joe Hong said to Simon in love, "I guess they will give you about 12%. If I double it, it will be 24%. What do you think?" Simon Ching did not show him the documents directly, but shook his head. "Not only. You are so confident that he will not increase the price." Joe Hong said, "Gong Yanjun is more talented than me. But it is a pity that he is only working now. And there are people on it. So no matter how much he raises the price, will only die. Unlike me, I can bet. Even if the people around you think I will die. And no one can stop me." 10 minutes later, Gong Yanjun returned to the store and said to Simon, "Sorry. I only got 20% of the single book share at most. And going up is beyond my ability." Joe Hong interrupted and said, "Okay, then I will give 40%. Simon Ching shrugged and said to Gong Yanjun, "Then I'm sorry. It's actually a pleasure to work with you. I hope there will be opportunities in the future." Gong Yanjun nodded. "The one with the higher price will get it. It's the right choice, but I have no plan to admit defeat." Hearing this, Simon Ching laughed. That's right. You guys dig out some good-looking cartoons. So that I won't be a book freak. Gong Yanjun took Su Jin and left. And Zhou Hong was still chatting with Simon about some details in the coffee shop. Su Jin looked at Gong Yanjun's back. Not knowing what he was thinking, editor-in-chief. Have we just given up working with Wuking teacher? Well. Gong Yanjun said, our conditions are no better than others. This is nothing we can do. Su Jin said, but the editor-in-chief can get a 20% share license. Which is already very powerful. I have never heard of any cartoonist that our publishing house gives such a high share. Ohar Malai. Gong Yanjun smiled slightly. Actually, I didn't talk about a single point. The people above killed 15% of the share and refused to let go. Then you still. That guy came to dig the foot of the wall. I can't just let him bully and not fight back, right? Gong Yanjun said indifferently. Su Jin only discovered that the editor-in-chief is not so good-tempered on the surface. As expected, the heart of being a leader is dirty. Then what shall we do next? The dance teacher is gone. It will have a great impact on the sales of our magazine. Right, there is definitely an impact. But the problem is not big, Gong Yanjun said. The Wuking teacher is indeed a miracle in this era. But there is always no shortage of talents. What we lack is only the pioneers. Now that they are already there. If the road is opened, it is not difficult for us to follow. Just like Newton discovered the 3 laws of motion. It is indeed an unprecedented thing. But when everyone starts to use this law, who can say that he must be unmatched in the application of these 3 laws? Woolen cloth. There are so many cartoonists in the entire flower country. And there are a lot of talented people. Everyone follows the routine of Tianlong Babu and introduces the old to the new. It may not be impossible to maintain the current sales of squat. Even if you're lucky. It is not impossible to create another god. Of course, this is also helpless, if possible. It would be best to sign the dance. But Gong Yanjun is just a part-time job after all. And can't fight for Zhou Hong in the coffee shop. Simon Ching said to Zhou Hong, are you sure you can call the shots of the 40% share? Such an exaggerated figure. Why novels dare not write that way? Is it possible that the publishing house is yours? That's not the case. My family has nothing to do with Weekly Edge, Zhou Hong said. But when I first entered the job, I negotiated with the above, they gave me a lot of freedom. Simon's love probably understood, actually. They never thought that you could negotiate a contract with us. So they thought that no matter how much freedom you gave you wouldn't be able to make waves. It's mainly because I have this value. Zhou Hong believes in himself, they invited me to come. So I naturally want to fight for as much freedom as possible. Well, let's make an appointment and we will sign the contract. Then 3 days later, Zhou Hong said. The location is still Hero. Yes, teacher. You remember to send me their conditions. And then we doubled, you are not afraid of my messy hair. Simon said with affection, it's Aki anyway. The biggest royalty has been set, Zhou Hong said with a smile. Lao Gong thought I didn't know. But the Heifeng group guys paid 20%, 15% is the highest. I will give teacher. You didn't expose him because of your face. Anyway, giving you 40% is within my acceptance range. Old Gong, why did the atmosphere suddenly become gay? Simon Ching's expression was a little unnatural. I'm used to it, Zhou Hong didn't care much. The two of us were the famous Zhaogong combination in school. Simon King did not hesitate to vomit. Isn't it just going to sleep in class? It's so bluffing. Zhou Hong is a person who likes to make use of all available resources. So in the evening, dancing will no longer renew his contract with Squat. Instead, the news serialized on Youth Comic Friends spread on the internet. This topic naturally aroused the attention of all parties. The last 2 series of Dragon Babu are about to end. In the past 6 months, dance has gradually stepped onto the altar. Squat's reproduction of the leading manga in the comics world is obvious to all. The two are almost bound in the eyes of readers. No one thought that they would part ways one day. And they would come so fast. A lot of different voices appeared on the internet immediately. www. Novel MTL, the dance teacher swelled. And there was a publishing house with a sales volume of tens of millions. Are the two of them supporting the sales volume? The history of the past 2 decades is fake. I think it's 80% of Squat who relied on being the leader to squeeze the dance teacher. And didn't give them enough respect. As a result, the asterisk was driven away. Isn't it all written in the novel? I bet 5 cents. The dance will fall when the godhead is not stable. It is completely dead. Squat can create one and it can create the second one. And they have. Hu Fan is a well-known cartoonist who has been in the comics industry for more than 10 years. Originally was serialized in the Weekly Squat. And he always got a lot of envy and admiration when he talked about it among relatives and friends. But at the end of last year, the publishing house engaged in a competition for the 3 major works. As a result, all 3 were left. Instead, his comics were cut in half. It is true that because his comic has been serialized for several years, the quality of his comics has been exhausted and the quality has declined severely. But he can also earn a lot of income every month. Suddenly being cut in the middle. No one feels better after the change. He has always had grievances against the 3 cartoonists Wu Qing, Yun Yan and Ying Zhang, however his grades are good. He can only hold back if he is angry. Now suddenly seeing the news that the dance is about to quit, he immediately gloated, "It's on the internet anyway. No one knows who I am. So why don't you scold them as much as you want?" He held up and stared down at the keyboard. Where is T? Oh, here TAMEN. They, Hu Fan played for a long time. Finally finished an article with in-depth analysis, detailed and rigorous inferences, and was about to send it out. His roommate suddenly opened the door and came in. "Hey. Old Hu, I'm shaving, did you see where the knife is?" The person who entered is called Mi Han, who is also a cartoonist like Hu Fan. He was also one of the unlucky cartoonists who were cut in half at the end of last year. Both of them are single dogs. In order to supervise each other's renewal, they agreed to live together in a shared rent. Hu Fan was nervous and hurriedly clicked on the keyboard. Cutting out the interface, the razor. Me, how do I know? You took it to shave your legs and didn't put it back. Oh yeah, Mihan patted his forehead. Last time he heard that women's clothing could increase the popularity. So he bought a set of cost suits for the ship girl and planned to take photos and post on Weibo. But the size was smaller and his legs were all hairy. After it was cleaned, I couldn't get it in. So I could only give up. The razor probably fell in the room at that time. Hey. Lao Hu, what are you looking at? Why do I see your computer desktop every time I come in? I'm trying to communicate with the computer with my mind. Hu Fan didn't know how he said this. Mi Han was taken aback. Communication. What is the communication? Just tell it, say. Hu Fan held back for a long time. And suddenly his inspiration flashed. I said you are already a mature computer. And you should learn to paint by yourself. Cut nerve. Mi Han left with a middle finger. He returned to the room, turned on his computer, and whispered to the computer, computer. You are already a mature computer. It's time to learn to draw comics by yourself. Hu Fan immediately locked the door after Mi Han left, and then went back and opened the original web page. Sure enough, there were no words he had typed so hard. Oh, I finally typed it out. He was crazy. But he didn't say a few words and felt uncomfortable. So he simply typed it again. But this time there were not many words. Dancing. Must bash the street, not bash. I will broadcast live. Japanese wolf dog. What he meant by condensing that paragraph. Only without analysis and argumentation. It looks like a pure spray. Next. I immediately followed up with many dancing fans to confront him. Hu Fan was slow to type and couldn't fight these keyboard guys. So he simply closed the webpage to draw comics. The dance is gone. Squat will definitely create a new god. This is an opportunity, we'll never let it go. There is more than one cartoonist who has similar thoughts with him. After the dance is gone, everyone wants to take a bite of such a big cake. Ziliang Yaezhuang. Song Yunwoo looked at Ximen Qing in surprise. You didn't sign a contract with Squat. Instead you signed with Youth Manu. That's right. Ximen nodded and Qin Yuya, who passed by one side, said, the whole family is to be neat and tidy. Qin Yuya wondered, however Squat is the industry leader. How can it jump from a high place to a low one? Do you know how much squat sales are? Song Yunwoo only felt a lot of brain pain. Weekly Manu doesn't even have enough of their fraction. So what? Simon Ching didn't care. Does it matter to us whether the magazine sells more? How much money should we take per page? Oh, by the way, Weekly Manu promised to give us 1/6,000. Are you in the eyes of losing money? At this price, once we can't get results, we will soon be cut. Song Yunwoo was not optimistic at all. She is a generation who grew up watching Squat. This magazine is an asterisk in her heart. And she finally managed to serialize it on this magazine. But she didn't expect Simon Ching to quit. This really broke the head and didn't expect it. Don't worry, this time it will definitely be a hit. Simon King promised by patting the cushion. You have no confidence in the comics you drew yourself. Tell you the truth. I am targeting the overseas market this time. I haven't counted on it. So it makes no difference whether the leader is the leader or the small shrimp. Why? Song Yunwoo asked. Simon Ching has sold out, you'll know when the time comes. The signing of Zin Manga and Weekly Manu does not mean that Simon Ching and they fell out with Squat. After all, copyright of Tian Long Ba Bu is still there. Whether it is peripherals film and television copyrights, etc., there are still many projects to cooperate. And this wave of Zhou Hongqiao's popularity just caught up with the finale of Tianlong Ba Bu. The two Joysonath two heats added together immediately aroused wide-ranging discussion again. Especially the penultimate episode of Dragon Babu is really wonderful. The three brothers gathered in the Shaolin Temple to reveal the identity of the first brother. Su Zhu's life experience and Kai Feng's life experience were all known at this moment. It was then that everyone suddenly realized that this was the case. During the battle between Zhuzhu and Ding Chunqiu, the wine was transformed into a life and death talisman. Duanyu was furious, and his sword spirit was defeated by Murong Fu in the end. A sweeping monk who smashed into the sky came out to save the two behind-the-scenes bosses Xiao Yuanshan and Murong Bo. The transformation completely exceeded everyone's expectations. WWW. Novel MTL fuck. I thought that the Xiao faction was enough. But I didn't expect that Shaolin Temple used its strength to prove that your father is still your father. Duanyu finally stubbornly licked the dog improperly. So be sober. Don't forget that you are actually a rich and handsome reality. Zhuzhu is miserable. I don't know who my parents are after I have lived so long. When I finally find out my parents died on the same day. And the black-haired person gave it to the white-haired person. Pull it down, he and his Laozi have no hair at all. Am I the only one who pays attention to Duan Zhangchun? When Xiao Yuanshan asked Yi Ernyang, I think he was about to stand up and recognize his son. Hahaha, I was so ridiculous. Everyone was watching him at the time. And even an honest person like Wang Yuyan cast a suspicious look. Duan Zhangchun, there are too many sister papers I have soaked. And I can't remember it myself. This time can be called the climax since the serialization of Dragon Babu. And the line of the whole story is basically put away here. The master battle during the period was even more exciting. And the readers were delighted to see it. The bookstore that has been out of stock has been ready to buy more. It turned out to be out of stock this time. And the bookstore clerk was dumbfounded. The bookstore, which is usually deserted like a haunted house, is suddenly crowded with people. Where did these guys come from? Reprint. And then reprint. Weekly Squat sales continue to rise. While industry peers are watching. Is it true that Squat makes dance or dance makes Squat? Is this the last glory or the beginning of ZTE? Regardless of the result, the next domestic comics will usher in a battle for hegemony among the heroes. The heroes are fighting for hegemony, it doesn't exist. Simon Ching took a sip of coffee and handed over the manuscript in his hand. Let them play in the country and see what they can play. Teacher, what do you mean? Hiromi Nita, who came with Zhou Hong, asked in confusion. Simon Ching picked up the contract and said to her, you know when you read the comics. Nita Yu curiously leaned over to look at the cartoon in Zhou Hong's hand. Because she posted it too close. She didn't even notice that her head touched Zhou Hong's face. The latter didn't evade so, he held the manuscript firmly. And the two looked at it together. The manga begins with this sentence. On that day, human beings finally remembered the fear of being dominated by them, and the shame of being imprisoned in a birdcage. The comic is called Attack on Titan. At the beginning of the comic, a huge humanoid creature with no skin and muscles and tendons can be clearly seen. In that sharp contrast, the young protagonist seemed so weak. As the sentence described, they were just caged birds. It's not a martial arts man, Hiromi Nita blinked, but continued to look at it. But she felt a little sleepy looking at it, this manga. It's a bit boring to be honest. In addition to the shock of the giant at the beginning, the next dozen pages are full of unseen plots. As an editor, she can of course see that this is foreshadowing and has a lot of foreshadowing. But it is also too long. Is far from the level of the expected Zhangwuking teacher. However, when she saw the giant at the beginning reappear, and this time with a clearer close-up, she immediately became energetic. Come here, here comes. When the giant kicked and destroyed the high wall, when countless giants swarmed in, Nita Hiromi's eyes widened. However, Editor-in-Chief, why don't you keep watching? Jo Hung knocked her on the head. Idiot. There is nothing below, huh? Nita Hiromi discovered that the original manuscript brought by Ximen Qing actually ended here. What about the plot behind it? What happened after the giant broke through the wall? She is really curious. It is said that the dance teacher is very ecstasy. She didn't feel much when she audited JoJo before, but this time she experienced it deeply. Teacher, how can you do this? What about the plot behind it? Oh, I'm still painting later, Ximen Qing said casually. It took Song Yunwoo a long time to get used to it because of a new style of painting. And it took him a long time to draw so much. They didn't bring the original manuscript when they were negotiating the contract some time ago. Of course, when you reach their level, you don't actually need to show the manuscript to the editor first. Basically, you can sell it with just one name, after all. No matter how good an editor is, he can see that your work is already at the limit. It is impossible to be 100% sure that a work can be popular and become a phenomenon. If there is such a serious editor, why not do it yourself? But such a little is not enough to see. I just noticed a little taste. Hiromi Nita really wanted to hand Ximen Qing a package of blades on the spot. And you are out of context with our editor, it's too much. Hey, as long as you like it. Ximen Qing turned to Jo Hong and said, is it all right to sign the name here? Yes. Jo Hong was calmer than Nita Hiromi. While writing her name, Ximen Qing said, I originally thought that this kind of contract should be signed on a more formal occasion. I didn't expect that we would sign it at a coffee shop. Please take a few photos quickly. All these photos can be sold for money. Jo Hong asked Nita Hiromi to take a photo. And he smiled. I originally planned to arrange a formal signing meeting. I also invited reporters. Unfortunately, the teachers are not willing to come. Press conference. Ximen shook his head as soon as he heard it. Just forget it. How troublesome. You can be happy about this. Jo Hong said, but I hope that teacher, like teacher Wang Shu, can come and shoot us a cover. Ximen Qing originally wanted to refuse. But then I thought about Itha. Isn't it possible to take various poses when shooting the cover? So she said to Jo Hong, I'll be exempted from the cover alone. But I can think about it if I'm with Wang Shu. That's okay, we will go to discuss with teacher Wang Shu. Jo Hong smiled satisfied. This kind of immortal face value. Not taking advantage of it is simply violent, but I still don't understand what the teacher said at the beginning. Hiromi Nita asked in a dazed manner after taking the photo. Jo Hong said, Yao, you are an editor anyway. With a professional vision. I think it's probably because the next plot development will be very radical. Right, with the current situation in our country, this cartoon may indeed hit a wall. You can see something from the previous dozens of pages. This comic is depressing, so it might be very exciting when it breaks out. The classification of Hyugyu's reading materials is still immature. And this kind of comics is easy to be caught. Ximen Qing did not deny, so www.novelmtl.com. This time it depends on the overseas market. There are many reasons why Attack on Titan will be blocked on Earth. In addition to blood and gore, there are also some political issues. For example, the prototype of a certain character is war criminals. Of course, Sesh and Song Yunwoo can change them casually, but she doesn't want to reduce the bloodiness at all. The picture of giant cannibalism must be clear and shocking. And this comic has the feeling she was ready to be banned. So she switched from squat to young man friends. Compared with domestic channels, Jo Hong's relationship on Amazon is a bit more useful. At the same time, Chin Yuyo, who had just attended a lecture at school and walked home, suddenly shuddered. What's going on after evolution? Her sixth sense has also become stronger. This inexplicable chill must be someone who is calculating herself. She looked around warily, a trace of puzzlement on her face. Senior sister at this moment. A few students suddenly ran over from behind. Chin Yuyo saw that 7 or 8 people were male and female. But she didn't know one of them. Should you call me? Yes. A girl looked at her anxiously and asked, Senior sister, are you the teacher Wang Shu who draws cartoons? Yeah. Chin Yuyo did not deny that he would be recognized unexpectedly. Ah, it's true, a group of students yelled with excitement. And then nervously asked her for autographs. Chin Yuyo kindly signed each of them. Senior sister, I like you. Suddenly, a younger brother confessed to her without knowing whether it was a brain twitch or something. Chin Yuyo was taken aback, then smiled and said, thank you for your love. And remember to support the original version. Chin Yuyo left after speaking, leaving only the boy who was stunned in the same place and a group of schoolchildren who were dumbfounded. Chin Yuyo left the school and touched her face subconsciously. I should turn off the charm effect. I was confessed, haha, this is the first time. Go back and talk to Sister Simon. Her expression, it must be interesting. She was talking to herself when she suddenly saw a humanoid object lying on the road ahead. It is said to be a humanoid object because it is covered with a thick layer of snow. And it has obviously been there for a while. Chin Yuyo was surprised and hurriedly went up to check. After brushing off the snow, it turned out to be a person. Hey, are you okay? She helped him up, took out the phone and prepared to call 120. This is a cold day, I'm afraid it will freeze to death. However, just as she was about to dial, the person in her arms groaned, so hungry, huh. Chin Yuyo saw that he could still talk, and he was relieved immediately. Are you okay? May I take you to eating, but I don't have money, the man in his arms said weakly. Chin Yuyo helped him up and looked carefully. This should be a girl, but she was dressed very thinly. Her hair and face were messy and she was probably a beggar. She donates a sum of money to charity every month. And now she sees a person who is about to freeze to death in person. She definitely can't let it go. So he took the girl to the nearest golden archway. First borrowed the bathroom and cleaned the girl roughly. At least she was no longer ashamed. And then she took her out to have something to eat. After taking care of it, Chin Yuyo was also a little surprised, to be honest, because the girl looked very good looking. Even if it is completely plain, it is still more beautiful than those internet celebrities after using the beauty camera. The snow-white skin has no signs of freezing, and the hair is smooth and tidy with just a rub. And there is no dust. The point is that this is actually a foreigner, with brown hair and blue eyes. Chin Yuyo would have thought she was an international star if it weren't for this embarrassing outfit. Thank you, you are such a good person. The girl thanked Chin Yuyo while eating the egg tart. I haven't eaten a full meal for almost half a month, huh. Chin Yuyo was shocked when she heard it and quickly asked, what's your name? You know anyone here? Just call me a Janny, the girl said as she ate. There was a good guy who was willing to take me in, but he died without knowing how and I didn't have any money. And I couldn't afford to stay in a hotel. I can only dig through the trash outside. Sometimes a kind passerby will give me some money, but it will be used up soon. Chin Yuyo couldn't help but feel a little distressed when she saw her gobbling down. Then how did you come to Hua country? What about the family? When I was a child, my parents sold me to a noble family as a maid. Later, my master's family was killed in the war, and I was arrested to join the army. Later I lost the war and the country was gone. I began to wander around. My family, it's already dead. Although Ajani said so, there was no sadness on her face. Qin Yuyao felt very unimaginable when he heard about nobles. Maids and wars will break out in modern times. Could it be the Middle East after a while? Ajani packed a few fried chicken legs in a paper bag and stuffed it into her arms after she was full. Then stood up and said to Qin Yuyao, "Thank you very much. But I have to go, I can't stay with you for a long time. Being together, otherwise it will bring you bad luck." Doom, Qin Yuyao was taken aback. "Do you have a place to go? What are you going to do next?" I have a fiancé in Huaguo, but I don't know where he lives. Just keep wandering before I find him. Ajani thought for a while. "Anyway, I'm used to it. But sometimes I am hungry, it's really uncomfortable. But with the chicken drumsticks you gave me, I don't think I will go hungry these days. How can this be?" Qin Yuyao hurriedly held her. "In this kind of weather, you will die if you wander around by yourself. The flower country is so big. What do you rely on to find your fiancé?" She thought to herself. A man who would let her fiancé live on the street is certainly not a good thing. Even if you find him, you can't figure out what will happen. Love will connect the two of us together. Ajani said hopefully, "Don't worry about me, I won't die." Qin Yuyao thought for a willing said to her, "Wait a minute. Then at least I will give you some more money for you." Ajani looked at her in surprise. "Give me the money, why?" "Why?" Qin Yuyao took out some cash from her wallet and gave her. "Save a little bit, if you want to find a job I can help you. Otherwise, you can tell me some information about your fiancé. I might be able to help you look for it." After she finished speaking, Yu read www.ukanshu.com and saw Ajani looking at her with tears in two different ways. "Are you an angel?" Angel, Qin Yuyao thought to herself. She should be closer to the vixen. She smiled and said to Ajani after she complained to herself. "You are the two of us who are destined, fate." As a foreigner, Ajani obviously did not understand this sentence well. A kind person like you will surely have good things happen to you. I have accepted your good words." Qin Yuyao didn't take it seriously, just smiled slightly. As a result, just after she finished speaking, she heard a bang outside. When she looked outside, she saw that there was a continuous rear-end collision on the street due to slippery, snowy roads. There were more than a dozen cars crowded together, and the warning lights kept going off. Zayakong City was originally a prosperous international city, and this immediately turned the streets into a pot of porridge. Qin Yuyao hurried out to help rescue some people in the car. Her physical fitness is getting stronger and stronger, and the subsidiary godhead of the asterisk of death can make her clearly aware of where the people are most dangerous. So in the end, with her help, no one died in the car accident. That's great, Qin Yuyao wiped a sweat. She was very thankful that she was an evolutionary. Otherwise, she could only be watching from the sidelines today. But she didn't notice that many people took out their mobile phones and started video recording immediately after the car accident. Several of them clearly photographed her face. When these videos were posted on the internet, someone immediately recognized her. The next day, the news of the famous beauty cartoonist bravely saves people on the street hit the headlines without a surprise. Even the Communist Youth League's Weibo reposted this video and praised her by name. Qin Yuyao left after saving people, and Ajani was also taken away by her. "You don't have a place to live yet, I'll find a hotel for you. And I'll talk about it later." Ajani's life experience is really pitiful, and Qin Yuyao can't bear the heart of such a beautiful girl becoming a beggar again. What if she encounters some bad people and kills her? Ajani was naturally moved by this. She has been wandering outside these years, and the number of bad people she has encountered is countless. But there are really not many good people like Qin Yuyao. God bless, good people must be rewarded. The master of the house where Ajani was a maid when she was a child was a devout believer, and she got into the habit of prayer. When Ajani was praying for Qin Yuyao, a group of people suddenly jumped out in front of the two. "I'm tired of the horse, God Linyang, I will marry you." While these people spit out vulgar words, they fought, and their movements grew louder and louder. Qin Yuyao looked aside and found that it was a hot pot restaurant. These people had been shot out from the restaurant. Before I figured out what was going on, I saw the hot pot restaurant sign suddenly fell down, knocking over a whole group of people. Several of them were battered, and one of them was unlucky enough to be pierced through the thigh by steel bars. Qin Yuyao didn't go to help this time. Someone around was already playing 110 and 120. What she cares more about is the sign. If this group of people didn't rush out just now, when I walked to that position, the signboard would almost have been smashed. Then I was the one who hit it, although with her physique. Even if it was smash edge would not look like these people. It's so serious, but it's also very painful. Good luck. Qin Yuyao said with emotion. Ajani on the side seemed to have noticed something. She covered her mouth and looked around with a guilty conscience, listening to the people around. It seems that when a table of guests ate hot pot, they used their mobile phones to hack the Wi-Fi in the store, and then used the hot pot restaurant's big TV to show the video of Mr. 91 Chin. Then the boss and employees in the store fought with them. And the hapless guy who was pierced by the steel bar in his thigh seemed to be the person who played the video. Let's go. Qin Yuyao took Ajani back to the foot of the Ziliang demon village. The villa can only be accommodated by evolutionary people, so she plans to find a hotel at the foot of the mountain for Ajani to stay temporarily. But what she didn't expect was that she happened to meet Simon Ching, who was just about to go home at the corner of the street. Her sister Simon, why are you here? I'm out to sign. Simon Ching shook the contract in his hand after signing. I stopped by and had a crayfish. I'll just say why there is so much oil in this contract. Sister, don't you use such an important contract to fill the bowl? Right? Simon King shrugged. Isn't this just going well? The two were chatting, and suddenly they heard a surprised Simon Ching. Qin Yuyao took a look and found that Ajani called it. Suddenly a little surprised, how did she know Simon Ching? As for Simon King, after hearing Ajani's voice, she suddenly realized that Qin Yuyao was still following such a person. She glanced intently and was almost frightened. Simon Ching almost withdrew within 0.1 second to more than 10 meters and shouted in horror. Don't come over. In contrast, Ajani is going to be much happier. Oh, it's really you. I didn't expect to be able to meet you, so lucky. Mom, Simon complained endlessly. Lucky for this guy, there must be someone out there. Maybe the hapless person is herself. I was cheated by you for 200. Last time, so why are you still looking for me? I didn't come to see you. Ajani said innocently, blinking her big watery eyes. Qin Yuyao looked at Simon King and Ajani in surprise. Do you know each other? What do you know or not, Zio Rao? Don't you know that you are shopping with a bastard? Simon King found a tree to hide behind and said to Ajani. You are not allowed to approach me 10 meters with it. Otherwise, or I will cry for you, 8 evil spirits. Qin Yuyao looked at the cute Ajani in surprise. She broke her head and never thought that such a beggar who was about to freeze to death on the street would actually be the 8 evil spirits standing at the top of the evolutionary. Is something wrong? She couldn't help but said. Simon King poked his head from behind the tree and said, have you not encountered any bad luck after you met her? As soon as S words fell, a pile of snow suddenly fell on the tree, smashing Simon's love to the ground. Look, let me just say it. Simon Ching shook the snow off her body like a puppy, and said to Qin Yuyao with a bitter expression. This guy is a catastrophe. Jiang Jianhong blind, why? Put her in. Qin Yuyao thought about it carefully, and said in doubt. I didn't touch the unfortunate thing. www. Novel MTL. But it felt like a few people helped me with it. Oh. How could this be possible? Simon Ching looked at Qin Yuyao in surprise. It's really fake. Can it be Rao you? What? No, it's nothing. In short, you should take that guy away. It's best to leave it where there is no one. Simon Ching was afraid of being hit by the snow again, and left under the tree. This guy is like me, but he has poor control. If you accidentally leak your own abilities, it will easily cause a lot of problems around you. And at least it won't kill people if there is no one. Qin Yuyao looked at Ajani, who had an innocent look on her face. I didn't mean it on purpose. Then I'll go a little farther. In this regard, Qin Yuyao didn't know what to do. She can't hurt others just because of her kindness, right? But Ajani, do you want to keep hiding like this? Where is your fiancé? I will find him. Ajani said with a smile. Only he will not be afraid of me and is willing to be with me. Wait a minute, fiancé. Ximen Qing looked dazed. Little Rizhao, what are you talking about? Sister Ximen, don't you know? Qin Yuyao then told Ajani about her fiancé. How is it possible? Ximen Qing asked in surprise. Which strong man is he who is so brave? Ajani said, don't you know him? I want to ask you where he is. I know. Ximen Qing's heart was stunned. Isn't this the one who used to be the dragon? Could it be that my dragon was gone because she fell in love with it? That's right, Ajani said, blushing. The moment he saved me on the sea more than half a month ago. I knew he was my destined hero more than half a month ago. On the sea, oh, I know. Ximen Qing found out that she had misunderstood. And Ajani actually liked Song Yunwoo's younger brother, Song Yunj. The chartered in-laws house won't be an end, right? Ximen Qing muttered. Qin Yuyao asked, Sister Ximen, do you know who Ajani's fiancé is? Isn't it the younger brother of the charter wife? He came during the Chinese New Year. You didn't see each other when you went home. Ximen Qing looked at Ajani. When did you two become unmarried couples? He is this year. You are only 20 years old. Are you an old cow eating tender grass? Ajani blushed and fiddled with her fingers and said, true love is regardless of age. Qin Yuyao looked at Ajani. Are you very old? Oh, it's inappropriate to ask the girl about her age. Ajani clasped her face in her hands and said shyly. Obviously I don't want to say. But Ximen Qing coldly exposed her, at least 200 years old and older. When I met her more than 100 years ago. She was already the 8th killer, yeah. Ajani squatted down, covering her face. Just like an ordinary shy little girl. Qin Yuyao opened her mouth wide. It turns out that this person who looks like a little sister is actually a grandmother who was once a grandmother. The world of the Evolver cannot be judged by common sense. Ximen thought for a while and said, don't look around. If you are allowed to wander around Hua country like this, maybe World War III will really begin. Qin Yuyao was a little unbelievable. Is this so scary? Ximen said in love, I'll just tell you that 119 years ago. This guy also visited Huaguo 119 years ago. Qin Yuyao mentally calculate this year is 2019. 119 years ago is 1908 kingdoms. She covered her mouth and looked at Ajani. Is that also related to her? That's not my pot. Ajani said she was innocent. They just wanted to shirk responsibility when something happened. And then I happened to be here at the time, so I was blamed on it. What about Australia? Ximen said in love. Luna Jones has always insisted that you were the one who destroyed Australia. Ajani became even more helpless. I don't know. I have been chased by their evolvers in Australia. I didn't have time to escape every day. Later, I found a ship to smuggle to Hua country and then it happened. I don't even know what. Qin Yuyao heard this and couldn't help but said, Sister Ximen, is there any misunderstanding here? Even if there is a misunderstanding, is very dangerous. Ximen Qing said anyway. You are not allowed to go out to harm this country. We can help you find the person you are looking for. If you find it, get out and get off by plane, really. Ajani said in surprise, Ximen loves you so well, thank you. As soon as the voice fell, an arrow flew from the sky, pierced Ximen Qing's head and nailed her to the concrete wall aside. Please don't thank me anymore. Ximen Qing pulled out the arrow from his head and shouted in the distance. Who is so ethical? Can this thing be played casually? If so, I hit the window glass. Who will lose money? Sister Ximen, are you okay? Although Qin Yuyao had seen her putting a knife on her back once, it was still too shocking to be pierced by an arrow. Oh. It's okay, Ximen Qing shook his head. It's just that his head is a little muddy. The special zombie physique allowed her wounds to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. There were no scars left after a few blinks. There was only a trace of round blood that proved that she had just been headshot. At the same time, a figure was quickly evacuating from the top of a tall building a kilometer away. Can you kill me like this? It's the 8 evil spiritaha. It's worthy of my investigation for so long. Ximen Qing didn't pay much attention to the fact that she was shot head by an arrow. She asked Chin Yuyo to take Ajani to the top of the mountain. Then she threw Ajani into the empty villa opposite. This area was all set up with special barriers by Song Yunwoo. And only evolutionaries would come up. So except for the Ziliang Demon Village. The other villas were empty. Luna Jones still planned to stay here. But Simon Ching tried his best to make him give up. Right now Ajani is being settled. Anyway, the villa collapses and I don't feel distressed. Chartered woman, chartered woman. Once back to the villa, Simon Ching shouted. What are you doing? Song Yunwoo walked out in her pajamas. I asked you to sign a contract for so long. Why are you yelling now? Zio Yuyo, you're back too. Something big happened. Simon Ching took Song Yunwoo to the sofa. Ready to talk about Ajani, however. Song Yunwoo first noticed the blood marks on her temples. And then saw the arrow in her hand, this. She took a closer look at www novel MTL. And said in surprise, isn't this the arrow of the island country Nikko Toshigu? Where did you get it, broken shoes? Who are you talking about? Simon's love exploded immediately. The old lady is obviously a virgin, snapped. Song Yunwoo interrupted her with a slipper, don't give me skin. Did you just get shot by this arrow? Yes, Simon King nodded. I don't know who's so unethical. Can this kind of thing shoot randomly? Song Yunwoo's expression is serious. This is not a question of public ethics and injustice. The other party may be directed at you, how come? Simon said with affection. Isn't this Sophia Jani's bad luck? What does it have to do with me, Sophia Jani? Why did you mention her? Song Yunwoo asked in confusion. I'm about to tell you. Simon Love agent Ajani came to Song Yunj to talk about it. And Chin Yuyo added what happened after she met with Ajani. No. Song Yunwoo shook her head vigorously after hearing this. My dad is just such a son. If this is entangled by her, my dad will be crazy. Simon loves to spread his hand. The question now is, can your Song family stop a bastard, or are they willing to go with Sophia Jani for a Song Yunj? No. Song Yunwoo shook his head vigorously. And then stared at Simon King Simon Ching. You can handle this for me, huh? Are you kidding me? Simon Ching pointed to herself. I was blown head by an arrow when I just said a few words to her. What do you want me to do? Is it dead water? Song Yunwoo looked at Simon Ching helplessly. If this goes on, my brother might really be dead. What should I do? Even if you look at me with the eyes off, the housewife encounters a problem that can't be solved. You can only ask for help from your husband. He can't help it. Simon Ching said helplessly. If you want to rank the 8 culprits in trouble, name we can only fight for second place. Sophia Jani is undoubtedly the first. It's the same if you let the other 8 evil spirits come. Is there no way at all? Simon Ching looked at Song Yunwoo's desperate look. And comforted, in fact more optimistic. Your brother may not die. Sophia Jani is still a goddess of luck in essence. She shouldn't deliberately kill her, your brothers. From the past legends, no one who has a relationship with Sophia Jani will have a good end. Song Yunwoo said, that's not easy to say. Simon Ching said. Look at Ru Yao, I've been with a Jani for so long. Isn't it still good? Song Yunwoo looked at Chin Yuya, who was puzzled. I did not encounter any bad luck, but luckily escaped a disaster, more than once. Simon King suddenly pointed to the TV and said to her. It was twice. Do you see if you are shown on the TV? Chin Yuyo and Song Yunwoo turned around and saw that the serial rear-end collision that had just happened was broadcast on TV as expected. Because it was a local TV station, it was very efficient. And it became news within a few hours. And Chin Yuyo's face was clearly reflected on the TV. The host's voice was uploaded from TV, according to witnesses on the scene. It was precisely because the woman who was saving lives on the screen pulled the victim out of the car in time to avoid casualties. Someone recognized this enthusiastic citizen. Suspected of the famous cartoonist Wang Shu. Zio Yugai are on TV, Song Yunwoo exclaimed. This thing must be very popular. I don't know how it was photographed. Chin Yuyo scratched her head, also surprised. Simon said with affection, look. I'll say it's not just something bad, but why? Song Yunwoo wondered. Is there anything special about Zio Yuyo? Simon Ching looked at the two and said, actually. I have a bold guess. What? Someone told me more than 100 years ago that Sophie Ajani mastered the power of the goddess of luck and was able to distribute a lucky. But she herself had suffered a lot from this, though she kept suppressing it. It's just occasionally accidentally leaking a trace, which has a certain impact on the outside world. People are afraid of her mainly because of the uncertainty. Lucky can come as many times as possible, but unfortunately, it can be fatal if you come once. And there has always been a saying about this uncertainty. That is, the stronger the strength, the less bad luck it will be contaminated, basically. At the level of the 8 evil spirits, it will not be affected by her unintentionally leaked abilities. After Ximon Qing said, looked at Qin Yuya, and Song Yunwu did the same. The latter looked dumbfounded. What do you mean? What are you doing looking at me? Ximon Qing patted Qin Yuya on the shoulder and said earnestly, Ru Yao, we are wondering if you might be an 8 evil level existence. Me 8 evil spirits. Qin Yuya suddenly felt excited. How is it possible? This joke is too ridiculous. Not necessarily, Song Yunwu said with a special analysis. The origin of the mythology elementary seed was originally the most powerful type of evolutionary. Zhang plus the Taiyan Star Lord. The origin of the 2 great gods are mixed. It's not a weird thing to become the 8 evil. Ximon Qing added, the main argument is still that after you contacted Sophie Ajani, there has been no bad luck. On the contrary, all good things happen to you. This is the most favorable proof of your strong strength. Yes, okay, Qin Yuya thought for a while and said, Sister Ximniu are also unlucky. The 8 evil spirits are not unlucky, it's just a guess. Ximon said in love, my strength is sealed. Otherwise there is no need to be afraid of her. In fact, after she met Sophie Ajani, she lost money for the unfortunate thing. It was caused by accepting Ajani's blessing when her strength was still sealed. Latter because she temporarily took control of her power. None of the unfortunate things happened. Am I the 8 evil? Qin Yuya slumped weakly on the sofa, seeming to have to accept this fact. Then, will I cause major damage to the surroundings in the future? The power is in your own hands, and what you use for it is your own decision, Ximon Qing said. Do you think that the 8 evil spirits are the kind of intermittent lunatics? We all do it. Is it good people? Yes, that's right. Qin Yuya also woke up. Everyone described the 8 evil spirits as horrible. Yu reading www.ukanshu.com made her subconsciously feel that the 8 evil spirits are terrible. But think about it carefully. Why are you going to do something if it's okay? She draws comics every day. What can happen? Whether it was Ximon Qing or Sophie Ajani, she didn't feel how evil they were after contacting them. Perhaps it is based on the falsehood, which caused the world to have a deep misunderstanding of the 8 evil spirits. She thought so. The 8 evil spirits will become 9 evil spirits in the future, Song Yunwu said. However, Ximon Qing denied, no, it is still the 8 evil. What? Qin Yuya and Song Yunwu both looked at her curiously. Ximon Qing scratched his head shyly. Oh, I am embarrassed to say that. In fact, I killed the 8 culprits of the island country more than 100 years ago. Kill? Qin Yuya looked at Ximon Qing in shock. This sister Ximon, who is no different from Xianyu except that she likes to take advantage on weekdays, actually killed someone. Her mind suddenly fell into chaos. In contrast, Song Yunwu is much calmer. She just said, I said why the island country hasn't come forward all these years. I didn't expect to be killed by you. You deserve to be the most ferocious leader of Tsingyi among the 8 evildoers. I was in self-defense. Ximon was rather helpless. Who made him jump and jump in front of me all the time, making my head big, so I just burned him with a fire. I know why people from Nikko Toshigu came to assassinate you. Song Yunwu looked at Ximon Qing's arrow of evil breaker. I remember that person who seemed to have always claimed to be the descendant of Tokugawa Ieyasu. Nikko Toshogong is his subordinate, no. Ximon Qing looked at the arrow in her hand and said helplessly, more than 100 years have passed. So how come you come back? Are these people dog skin plasters? You don't need to worry about things in the Nikko Dongsho Palace, Song Yunwu said to Ximon. You are mainly trying to figure out how to keep my brother. Ximen Qing is also helpless. What can I do? I am a goddess. And I am not Yue Leia, then you can find Ru Ye anyway. Chang seems to be the same as Yue Lao in some areas. Me. Qin Yuya was stunned. How can I do it? I haven't been in a relationship yet. So how can I connect someone else? Song Yunwoo grabbed her shoulder and said with a sad expression, Zio Yuya. Our old Song family's 9th generation single pass. Just my brother is the only seedling. Do you have to bear with me? 9 generations of single biography. Isn't your Song family a big family? Oops, Ximen just said his love. And Song Yunwoo kicked him behind the sofa. Qin Yuya saw Song Yunwoo begging her, so ashamed to refuse. Then, what do you think I can do? Song Yunwoo thought for a while. And said, anyway, you are not afraid of her. So please comfort her first, don't let her go to my brother. I'll talk about the next thing later, that's okay. Qin Yuya nodded. Anyway, the villas in our area are empty and unoccupied. So let Ajani live on the opposite side. She was worrying about how to place Ajani before. Song Yunwoo said this now, which just solved the problem. Live here, Song Yunwoo's expression froze. Then, if it's just a temporary stay, it should be okay. She remembers that Jiang Jianhong once said that if the 8 evil spirits are too close, things will happen even if they don't want to. Now that Qin Yuyao has been judged to be at the level of the 8 evil spirits, it is good to say that Ximen Qing is sealed. But Sophie Ajani is the real 8 evil spirits. The two of them get together, and God knows what will happen. All in all, Ximen Qing got up from behind the sofa and lay down on the backrest. You call your brother first, it's true. It's obviously his own sister. Why do we want us to clean up the mess? Is it possible to be a scumbag? Well, all right. Song Yunwoo nodded and went back to the room to call home. Qin Yuya went to the other side to tell Ajani what she could stay temporarily, and brought her some daily necessities and food. She seems to like Ajani and Qin Yuya, who is not too familiar with the evolutionary world, does not have a clear concept of the 8 evil spirits, so that she knows that she is very likely to become the 8 evil spirits and still be ignorant. What she saw was that Ajani was just a kind girl who would rather pick up trash than use her own power to profit for herself. Ximen Qing was just a clinging big sister, and there was nothing to fear. While having a meeting inside Ziliang Yaezhuang to discuss the affairs of Ajani and Nico Dongjiagong, the guy who had shot Ximen's love was blocked by 2 people, one after the other. Lian Feng and Jiang Shuling are very angry now. Similar to the kind of anger that is instinctive in life when you stand on the edge of a cliff and someone behind you suddenly pushes you. You guy, is your brain caught in the door? Even Feng gritted his teeth. You can do such a deadly thing. Jiang Shuling's voice was even colder. This is enough to be a terrorist attack. Out of regulations, we will ask you to surrender first. If you haven't taken any specific actions after 3 seconds, we don't rule out the possibility of killing you on the spot. The blocked Nico Toshigu master didn't panic, just because you two want to kill me. Said there was a ripple in the space. When Lian Feng and Jiang Shuling realized that something was wrong and wanted to stop them, they found that the dungeon and dragon claws were all empty. This is a spatial ability. Jiang Shuling recognized it at a glance. Lian Feng was also stunned. Aren't all the onmyojis in Nico Toshigu Shrine? Where are the evolutionaries of science fiction? Who knows, let's report it first. Jiang Shuling was also helpless. Ever since they were sent to monitor the leader of Tsing Yi, they have encountered incredible guys. Tsing Yi taught the left guard Sen Kaienshin, the king of witches Andrea. Which one is not the internationally renowned giant-level existence? Now the supernatural power of this space system. If she didn't guess wrong, she is also a very amazing guy. The other party probably escaped because of fear of the leader of Tsing Yi. Otherwise, she and Lian Feng are really not necessarily rivals. It's time to find someone to change shifts. Jiang Shuling sighed. If this continues, I might die in the line of duty. I don't want to be a virgin when I die. Me too. Even Feng followed with a sigh. After finishing speaking, he suddenly noticed that Jiang Shuling was looking at him with weird eyes, and suddenly realized that he seemed to have said something wrong. I mean I have no experience in that area. Not that I am also a virgin, what do you think? Oh. Jiang Shuling suddenly realized, excuse me. I misunderstood. So how can you misunderstand that direction? Do I look like a woman's? Jiang Shuling nodded, honestly www novel mtl. Com tilde looks like it don't believe me. Put on a wig and look in the mirror, damn. Lion Feng stopped, what are people thinking about now? Why do they think about making men pretend to be women all day? Isn't it good for a serious woman with milk cove? The next day Song Yunwoo found Ximen love. You will ask for leave today, don't go to work. What's wrong? Ximen Qing asked. I found the identity of the person who shot you. Song Yunwoo said, who is it? The killer destry god. What god? Ximen was stunned for a moment and almost didn't react. Destroy god, Song Yunwoo emphasized again. This is a newcomer who has recently shown his brilliance. The first target of assassination in his debut was a great king in Dubai. Ximen Qing hasn't listened to Song Yunwoo's words anymore. Her mind is full of the code name of the angry killer. My Shen, look at my eyes, my Shen, pop. Song Yunwoo slapped her cushion, are you listening to me? Why are you glaring at it alone? No, you continue to say, I'm listening. Ximen King said quickly, all in all. This killer god of destruction is very mysterious. The only thing that is known is that he is a space-type supernatural power. No one knows other things such as heightage and appearance. At present, his mission success rate is 100%. The international killer rankings have soared all the way. And now he has reached the 7th position. Now that the Phantom has died, he is one of the 2 most promising to become the next killer king. 2 people, who else is it? Ximen Qing asked. Song Yunwoo paused, then looked behind Ximen Qing. Ximen King followed her gaze and turned to look, only to see Xia Ogui walking over with her school bag on her back. I'm going to school, oh be careful on the road. After watching Xia Ogui leave, Ximen King turned around and said, who else is? Don't you know? Song Yunwoo rolled his eyes, is there another one who just went to school? Where is there a killer who wants to, Ximen looked back at the boy who was changing shoes, It seems that the death of Phantom was attributed to her last time. Song Yunwoo said. So now the international evaluation of her is very high. And some people even speculate that she may be unknown. The fierce class exists, is that so? These people don't have any brains, Ximen Qing was stunned. The 8 evils are Chinese cabbage. You can meet them everywhere. Do they know what the probability of 1 in a billion is? Song Yunwoo said, in fact. We already have 2 in this small place. And there is also a Xia O Yuyao who is suspected of being the 8 evil spirits. Counting those who have been here, there are 5 in total. Oh, Ximen Qing realized when she said that. Is this mountain a treasure of geomantic omen? The 8 evil spirits can make up a table of mahjong and add a fishing angle. So lately, I'd better let Xia Ogui go out to do tasks as little as possible. It won't be good if he gets targeted, Song Yunwoo said. The 2 of them had tried their best to make the wolfish little boy go to school honestly. And finally found the God's Prank website to register an account for her. And then lied to her to become a killer, in this way. She can use the reason that killers usually have a different identity to cover up, to make her study at school like an ordinary child. And she will not use her abilities to cause trouble. It's just that I didn't expect the website to be so unethical. Now the mysterious alliances all over the world know that on the day of Mirage's death, there was another person named Xia Oyu who was performing a mission at the same location. Although the official claimed that it was the Phantom they killed, some evolutionaries who were good at investigating found Xia Ogui squeezing the receiver's monitoring screen. This time, the killing of the Phantom was attributed to her. Little dear, let's just look at it. But what about the destroying the god? How can I solve it? Although there is nothing serious about it. Ximen Qing doesn't want to be headshot anymore. What if it spreads to the charter wife? Song Yunwoo said, I have investigated. The most important feature of the killer of God Destroyer is that he is meticulous and rigorous. He will never shoot unless he is fully prepared. That's why his success rate is so high. Maybe it was just an arrow that shot you yesterday. It's part of intelligence gathering. So when he will make a move next is really not sure. Or you should just go out and be the bait. No, Simon shook his head vigorously. Are you the devil? Is it possible to tell such a weak woman as me to go out as bait? Do you want a face for Simon love? What qualifications do you have to say that you are a weak woman? Song Yunwoo felt that Chin Yuya was better. When she was alone, she didn't know how to accurately complain about Simon love. Simon Ching simply lay down on the sofa. With a posture that I was RBQ, I am being spotted now. So no one can say that I am asking for leave. Oh, I can finally find a serious excuse for being lazy. When Simon Ching made the salted fish declaration in the villa, a figure quietly appeared in the villa opposite the Ziliang demon village. This person is Mai Shen, a killer who only has a name and a space supernatural power in the world, and has no intelligence other than that. No one knows that Mai Shen is actually a woman. Her name is Jin Huyu and her father is a Kimchi native. And her mother is Swedish because of this. She has the facial features of a standard oriental beauty. But her eyes are emerald green and her hair is bright golden. She is 15 years old this year. But she has an exaggerated height of 1.7 meters, a bust of 32 c. And a pair of long legs is completely model level. If it wasn't for her appearance to be too immature, someone would believe that she was 25 years old. Jin Huyuan's mother is a family of killers. She was brought back to Europe by her grandfather to train. She has reached a very high level in terms of knowledge and fighting skills. A year Agathi led her out to perform the task and do all kinds of technical support in the back. In a short period of time, the name Mai Shen became famous internationally. Incidentally, the title of God Destruction was created by Jin Huiyuan herself. And her ultimate goal is to kill the 8 evil spirits who are at the pinnacle of the world's evolutionary. Since the 8 evil spirits are mostly the first seed of the mythology, she wants to destroy the god. This time she came to Zayakong City because the island nation's Nikko Toshigu Shrine published a mission to assassinate the leader of Tsingyi on a certain killer forum of the Mystery Alliance www. Novel MTL. Who would dare to assassinate the 8 murderers? Everyone regarded it as the daily brain twitching of the island nation and ignored it. But Jin Huiyuan took the initiative to take the task. She felt that after this year of tempering, she had almost reached the pinnacle of a killer and only looking at the 8 evil spirits in the world. Jiang Jianhong and the American man are in high positions, and the military forces around them are powerful. Assassination is very troublesome. There are also a few 8 evildoers who basically can't find their shadows. And even a few of them don't even know their specific appearance. The only goal left is Simon Love. It just so happened that the leader of Tsingyi was hailed as the most brutal among the 8 evil spirits. Jin Huyun felt that only by killing her, she could justifiably become the king of the assassin world. According to intelligence investigations, this area is restricted by enchantments, except for the leader of Tsingyi and the people close to him. No one else lives. So the villa I entered is the best ambush location. And no one will find it. Jin Huyuan just thought of this when she heard a boom from downstairs. And then there was a jingle of things falling, someone. She was shocked and quickly jumped to the ceiling, holding her hands on the wall and listening with bated breath. She heard the sound of pain from someone downstairs. But no one came upstairs for a while, so she landed quietly. And then lurked little by little to observe the situation downstairs with a small mirror. I saw a woman in the semi-open kitchen, sorting out the pot and shovel that fell on the ground. Rubbing her forehead, "It's really unlucky," she muttered. "Why did the dishwashing liquid tip over and spill on the floor? Did I accidentally hit it yesterday?" Looking at the woman in the mirror, Jin Huyuan has only one thought in her mind: who is this person? There is absolutely no information about this woman in the intelligence. Jin Huyuan immediately retreated, and then took out a small computer to ask her supporters about the situation. The reply over there was the beggar Qin Yuyao picked up on the road yesterday. Qin Yuyao, oh yes, Jin Huyuan suddenly remembered. It seems that when she attacked the leader of Tsingyi yesterday, Qin Yuyao was indeed standing next to a woman. It's just that Qin Yuyao's position just blocked a Janny at that time. So she didn't see her face either. How could she live here? She is also an evolutionary. Jin Huyuan's heart is tight. Could it be that it is against me? She is accustomed to acting after careful investigation. This kind of existence beyond data is what she hates most. Because it is full of unknowns and uncertainties. Or try her first if a killer can't even react to changes. He must be unqualified. Now that someone other than the intelligence appeared, Jin Huyuan decided to rule out the accident first. She sneaked into the first floor again and found that the woman was eating instant noodles at this time. It's not the cooked one, but the one that crushes the bag and sprinkles it with pepper and shakes it. Kuga Kuku chewed rhythmically, and a small piece accidentally fell to the ground. She picked it up and blew it quickly, and then put it in her mouth casually. Chinese letter, how come there are women who don't care about hygiene? Also as a female, Jin Huyuan feels that this woman is simply the legendary female hanging silk. Suddenly, the face of the woman who was eating noodles changed. Jin Huyuan suddenly felt tight, not good. It was discovered she retreated quickly. But she heard another boom and then a scream of awe. What happened? Jin Huyuan took a quiet look and found that the woman was squatting on the ground and clutching her feet in pain. Is this? Kicked the toe to the foot of the sofa. The woman's expression became more and more painful. Her face flushed like fire. And it seemed that she was not just kicking the foot of the sofa. She crawled to the kitchen with difficulty, took a bowl of tap water and poured it into her mouth while rubbing her chest. Is this choking? Jin Huyuan realized that the woman suddenly changed her face just now because she choked on instant noodles. Damn it, did I scare myself just now? After preliminary observation, Jin Huyuan feels that this woman is basically a female asterisk with a low IQ. Threat is basically equal to 0, but in order to verify this, she needs further confirmation. She quietly took out a handful of peanut-sized peanuts from her body. This was a special item made by her family, and it was coated with powerful anesthetics. As long as the skin is pierced, even an elephant can be numb in an instant. And this kind of piercing nail is made of glass. It looks completely transparent. You can't find it if you don't care carefully. She used her space ability to evenly spread the nails on the way from the kitchen to the living room. As long as the woman continues to come back to eat instant noodles, she will definitely step on it at that time. Whether she pretends or not. It will be the same if she gets numb after drinking the water. Janny let out a long sigh of relief. Oh, I almost thought I was going to die. I really didn't have any luck today. She limped back to the sofa while rubbing her chest. Jin Huyuan stared at her footsteps, step on it. However be coincidence, Ajani avoided all the piercing nails perfectly and walked grandly through the traps arranged by Jin Huyuan. Jin Huyuan was stunned. Although she didn't put the nails too densely to prevent them from being discovered. It is generally impossible to avoid all the nails perfectly. Right. Did this woman pretend to be deliberate, or is she really lucky? Is it possible to be a master? Am I already discovered? Out of the vigilance of a killer, Jin Huyuan did not continue to test, but withdrew to the second floor. She wanted to see how the other person would react, finally. Wait. The other party showed no signs of going upstairs at all. Jin Huyuan couldn't help but wonder, did she think too much? Is she really just lucky? Calm down, Jin Huyuan is a killer. You can never lose a clear understanding of the situation. She returned to the corner of the stairs again, intending to observe again before she took out the mirror. She heard the woman's voice, "You are so tender," found it. Jin Huyuan's body tightened instantly, ready to use her space ability to escape at any time. Then I heard the woman say, "You are so cute. I really can't bear to move you. What's the meaning? Does she think she's taking me down?" As if in response to Jin Huyuan, the woman continued, "But I'm sorry, I'll take you." She can read the mind. Jin Huyuan's heart is violent. Where is this master? Why is there no information at all, however? Since it was discovered, Jin Huyuan didn't intend to hide. After going out for a frontal wave, she can no longer use her space ability to escape. The difficult targets she encounters during training are all solved through such constant testing and then finding weaknesses. Jin Huiyuan turned around and walked out from the corner www. Novel MTL, Tilda was about to talk, and saw the woman holding a fried chicken there. Biting happily, HMMSO tender so tender. She opened her eyes wide and withdrew again in a thunderous manner, West 8. Jin Huiyuan has no idea whether this woman is really stupid or pretending. Just when she hesitated, the doorbell rang suddenly. Ajani immediately got up to open it. This time she still avoided all the nails perfectly. Ah. You are here, yes, did you have breakfast? Kim Yuan knows who the person is, Qin Yuyao. An evolutionary who has just awakened recently. Is innocent and has no characteristics. But the relationship with the leader of Xingyi is very good. Come on, Jin Huiyuan didn't expect her luck to be so good. In her original plan, Qin Yuyao was the most critical part. Because in the entire Ziliang demon village, only she is the best to deal with as long as she is taken down. And then Yurong Cheng. She can easily approach the leader of Xingyi for assassination. Is really not good. And she can be used as a bait to lure the leader of Xingyi to ambush in a prearranged place. Jin Huiyuan had done a lot of plans to kidnap Qin Yuyao before. But she didn't expect that it would be effortless to break through the iron shoes and find no place to find it. The opportunity was just given to her door. Do not miss the machine. Jin Huiyuan came to Qin Yuyao in a teleport, intending to grab her and teleport away with her. It turned out that Qin Yuyao was caught. But when Jin Huiyuan was about to launch the second teleport, a thunder and lightning erupted from Qin Yuyao and shot her out. How is it so strong? When Jin Huiyuan was still shocked that Qin Yuyao had suppressed her in terms of ability level, she suddenly felt a pain in her butt. As if she had been pierced by a nail, no way. Jin Huiyuan turned her head with difficulty and found that the place where she landed was exactly where she had sacked the nails. This kind of nails is the proud work of their family. They are covered with anesthetics that can numb elephants with just a little bit. Elephants can numb, Jin Huiyuan rolled her eyes white and immediately lost consciousness. Qin Yuyao and Ajani both looked dumbfounded. Who is this person? I don't know. Ajani shook her head in confusion. Isn't it your acquaintance? I seem to be shaking hands with you just now. I don't know her. Qin Yuyao looked at Jin Huiyuan's face and confirmed that she didn't recognize her. She shouldn't be dead, right? She didn't know why she had the discharge just now. It was completely subconscious. It's the same as shrinking your hands when you get a needle. Watching Jin Huiyuan roll her eyes white and foam at her mouth, she couldn't help but feel a little worried. She would electrocute people to death yesterday. Ximen Qing and Song Yunwu said that she might be an evolutionary of the 8th fierce level. This matter kept her caring. Did she accidentally kill someone? This power seems to be more terrifying than imagined. Qin Yuyao thought of this and hurriedly stepped forward to check. When she found that Jin Huiyuan was still breathing, she breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay. It's just a coma, she thought for a while. Picked up Jin Huiyuan and said to Ajani, I put breakfast here for you. You can eat it first, I will take her to see Yunwu sisters. Well, okay, Ajani nodded obediently. I hope she will be fine, Chinese letter. Qin Yuyao accidentally bumped her head against the door frame because it was the princess who was holding Jin Huiyuan. And Jin Huiyuan was very tall. Oh, sorry. Qin Yuyao quickly apologized. Although Jin Huiyuan couldn't hear it, are you okay? Ajani asked with concern, it's okay. Qin Yuyao looked at Jin Huiyuan, who was in a coma with a painful expression. It should be. It's okay. This time she turned her sideways and took Jin Huiyuan out. Be careful all the way. Ajani watched the two leave behind. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Yuyao staggered, as if the heel of the high-heeled shoes got stuck in the seam of the floor tiles. Of course she was fine, but Jin Huiyuan, who was in her arms, slid out due to an angle problem and fell into the snowdrift at the door. Oh, Ajani closed the door embarrassedly. Qin Yuyao dared to pull Jin Huiyuan out of the snow and then took her to Ziliang Demon Village, Sister Yunwu. Sister Yunwu, it's not good. Ajani, who closed the door, thought that she might have caused Jin Huyuan to be so unlucky. And she felt a little sad. I hope she is okay, Chinese letter. Jin Yu ran too fast. Jin Huyuan's head hit the LED light board of Ziliang Demon Village again. And the dim Yao immediately lit up. Ah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, she hurriedly turned Jin Huyuan over. But Jin Huyuan's long legs accidentally tripped over the LED light wire on the door frame. It may be due to the fact that it is too cold in winter. Or the quality of the wires is too poor. And part of the outer skin has fallen off. Kim Yuan's feet just touched the part of the wire that was peeling. And she was shocked by the electric shock. Qin Yuyao is immune to electricity due to her own ability. So she doesn't know what happened. Just seeing Jin Huyuan trembling all over. She couldn't help feeling very anxious. Hey, what's wrong with you? Are you trying to say something? I can't hear you clearly. Xiao Yao, who are you talking to? Song Yunwu just happened to open the door at this moment. And he saw this scene immediately. She quickly said, Xiao Yuyao, let go. She is about to be electrocuted, huh? Qin Yuyao subconsciously let go. And Jin Huyuan fell directly to the ground, Chinese letter. Jin Huyuan's head was directly hit on the base of the LED light. Although the skin was not broken. The clear voice was creepy enough. Ah. Qin Yuyao was so frightened that her hands and feet were cold. Can this person still live? Song Yunwu was calmer than her. And hurried out wearing slippers to check it out. I'm still alive. This person is an evolutionary. And his physique is much stronger than ordinary people. As she said. She took Jin Huyuan into the house and put her on the sofa. Xiao Yuyao, where did this person come from? Followed Qin Yuyao, who entered the door and said, I don't know. This person suddenly appeared in the opposite villa. She seemed to be shaking hands with me. And then I accidentally ejected her. She fell to the ground and fainted, suddenly. Could it be teleport? Song Yunwu asked subconsciously. Well, yes, it's just like teleporting. Qin Yuyao recalled and said. Song Yunwu's expression suddenly became serious. Isn't this kid a asterisk of destruction, idiot zombie? Come here, huh? Ximeng King came out of the bathroom carrying her skirt. What are you doing? I think we have caught the god of destruction www. Novel MTL. Song Yunwu said this with a trace of uncertainty on her face. What do you mean by catching it? Ximeng Qing didn't understand her at all. And looked on the sofa. Oh. Where does this beautiful little loli belong? Jin Huyuan's face is immature. And she is not very old at first glance, however. She has a good figure, a standard childlike giant. Ximeng Qing's eyes straightened up. And she is just like this one. Idiot, I mean she might be desperate, what? Ximeng was taken aback and quickly glanced at the big loli. You mean it was a cute girl who shot me last night? You wait a moment. Song Yunwu and Qin Yuyao both looked at Ximeng Qing suspiciously. She walked over and squeezed Jin Huyuan's chest. What are you doing abnormal? Song Yunwu was shocked. Wealthai's feel is not fake, Ximeng King said seriously. Now this world is too sinister. I really can't determine whether she is a male or a female without touching it. Does this have something to do with her destroying the gods? Qin Yuyao asked. Ximeng Qing shook his head. It's just my personal curiosity. By the way, did any of you see the scissors I put on the sofa? Qin Yuyao suddenly had a bad feeling. What scissors? Ximeng King explained, I used to cut nails. Zombie nails grow much faster than normal people. And they are very hard. The scissors are much sharper than others. They are so easy to use, I like it, woolen cloth. Sister Yunwu. Qin Yuyao and Song Yunwu looked at each other. As if they had thought of something at this moment. Jin Huyuan, who had been in a coma on the sofa, suddenly jumped up from the sofa with a wow. Screaming, Chrysanthemum, Yuha I see. Jiang Shuling hung up. And Lion Feng couldn't wait to ask her, how is it? What does it say? As more and more masters have appeared in this area recently, the two of them gradually felt a little weak. So they decided to report the situation to the above. I hope that either replacements or reinforcements at the top. Jiang Shuling finished the call. But his expression was a little unnatural, they said. Say what you said it. They said that surveillance is all you need to look at with your eyes. There are so many cameras in this city that we can call. There is no need to personally follow behind. As for fighting a killer, it is even more meaningless. We feel that the difficulty is too much and it is purely our own. Add too much drama to yourself, huh? Lion Feng said angrily, fuck. Do these people want billion? Let's not stop the killer. What if she goes to the Tsingye leader to do something? They said this too. Jiang Shuling had a trace of doubt on his face. From the beginning, we didn't expect us to be able to use military force much. Because the real masters are elsewhere. Is there anyone else? Lion Feng asked in surprise. Suddenly seemed to think of something. And quickly took out his cell phone and called his brother Lion Qianjun. Lion Qianjun. What to shout, no big or small, call brother. Lion Qianjun mosquito-like voice came from the other side of the phone. What's wrong with your brother? Jiang Shuling asked strangely. When did the wildest boy in the lion family speak so softly? Even Feng felt very strained. But they heard some noise from the other end of the phone. As if someone was saying, oh, Bai Sujin is off. Fuck this figure, I licked it on my horse, damn. Why is the screen black? Who is the dark animal husbandry of the group, on the phone? Lion Qianjun lowered his voice and said angrily, Lion Feng. Let me care about your uncle. Lao Tzu and Sister Paper are watching a wonderful movie. Are you calling Lao Tzu at this time? Isn't my uncle your dad? Lion Feng said subconsciously. Oh, what kind of movie you are watching? It must be asterisk. I heard something take off, go. I watch White Snake, Origin. A serious domestic high-quality movie. You are a single dog and you don't have a sister-in-law. Of course you don't know this movie, Maud, it's so good. Was ridiculed for no reason, Lion Feng was very depressed. This kind of guy can find a match, it's utterly unreasonable. I heard that he is still a white and rich girl, Gan, it's okay. You can watch the movie again anyway if you like it. You will definitely do it twice. I will ask you something now, second brush. It makes sense, what do you want to ask? Lion Qianjun was awakened by him. And his anger suddenly disappeared a lot. Lion Feng took the opportunity to ask him, have you been in contact with the leader of Tsingye? Are there many masters around her, Grass? What is too much? She is the 8th evil. It's not that there are too many masters around. But the masters on all horses, fortunately. I ran fast at the beginning. Otherwise it will become roasted eel now. Are all masters? Yes. You know the 10th Lady Bones in the Asian disaster list. The new master of the island nation in the 21st century. The first generation of mythology. Even if it is not the 8th evil. It is definitely the bug-level existence of the first echelon under the 8th evil. It's about 50 or 5 with me. How do I feel that you are blowing yourself in disguise? Shut up, you are a younger brother, refute it. In addition to Mrs. Bone, there is also Sen Qianchen, the left guardian of Tsingye, who is also a strong person who is like me. You were not stunned by someone else's slap last time. Can you not mention my dark history? Also, how come you are 50-50 with everyone? Fuck. I'm modest, who is really afraid of fighting. There is also a little girl from the Gonggong family. Du Yushun has fought against her. And commented that now the whole Jiang family can't find a few better than her. Of that elementary student. Lion Feng looked at Jiang Shuling subconsciously. Jiang Shuling also looked dazed. Why didn't she know that their Jiang family had such a master? That elementary school student usually looks at Meng Mengda. Is it so scary? Then should we continue to watch the situation now? Lion Feng then talked to Lion Qianjun about the encounter with Mai Shen. I only heard Lion Qianjun say, they are right. You really have too much drama. How can the assassin who can be discovered by you get the big boss of Tsingye Guru? What's more, there is a middle boss next to her. Medium boss who, don't you know, just Chrysanthemum. Jin Huiyuan jumped up from the sofa and screamed on the ground. She had a pair of scissors inserted in the position of her tailbone, which seemed to be inserted quite deeply. She was electrocuted to give her alive, woke up with pain. Zyminking hurriedly went over and pulled it out for her. But with this pull, blood spurted out www, novel MTL. She hurriedly took a piece of chocolate on the coffee table and plugged it. Woo woo woo, Jin Huiyun lay on the ground half dead. As if he had been 7 in and 7 out by 100 big men. Song Yunwoo subconsciously wanted to draw on the drawing paper. This material is too suitable for those fan comics. But she moved her hands and suddenly realized that she didn't need to paint those little yellows to make ends meet. So she gave up the idea. Simon loves to see that this big-breasted, long-legged lowly is so miserable and feels a little distressed. So he squatted down to comfort her and said, "Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, it's okay." As a result, she just stretched out her hand. Jin Hyuyuan, who was dying the last moment, stepped out and hid behind the sofa and looked at her warily. Her outstretched hand froze in the air, and the expression on her face was a bit embarrassing. Now if there is a BGM. She really wants to sing. Are you serious about taking a half step back? The small action hurts so much. You don't come here. Jin Hyuyuan wanted to use teleport to escape, but she found that her ability was suppressed from just now, and she couldn't teleport out at all. Moreover, there were so many injuries on her body, which made her aching fiercely, especially the chrysanthemum, which made her full of a sense of crisis. Little sister, we won't hurt you. Xiamen Qing tried to show herself a gentle smile. We are all good people. Cut, are you my 3-year-old child? Jin Hyuyuan said with disdain. I have already investigated clearly. Yu Ziliang Demon Village is a group of extremely sinful people. Especially youth leader of Tsing Yi, who was once a big fire, burning Wang Mang's millions of troops end in modern times. It burned Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the lives on his hands were more contaminated than others. The worst thing in the world is you. Xiamen Qing hides his face. No, I am not. I don't. Don't talk nonsense. I was wronged. It's really not me. Xiamen Qing said. I was still sleeping when that happened in Hiroshima. Someone must have thrown the pot to me. Qin Yuyao and Song Yunwoo both looked at her suspiciously. Although Xiamen Qing herself has always insisted that she slept for 100 years. There is no evidence for this kind of thing. Who knows if she ever came out halfway through, after all. Many people have the experience of answering a phone call halfway through sleep and then going to sleep, and forgetting to call after waking up. What if Simon Love has sleepwalking? You actually suspect me? Xiamen King pressed his chest. With a sad expression on his face. Omi heart is so cool. Tilda. Song Yunwoo chuckled. Idiot zombie, you can't do it. You should look at me, as she said. She turned to Jin Hyuyuan with a gentle smile on her face. Little sister. It's a wise choice to stay away from that guy. You come to my sister and my sister will protect you. However, after hearing her words, the contempt on Jin Hyuyuan's face became more obvious. Who do you fool? When I don't know the no. 1 Asian natural disasters and man-made disaster lists. Heart eater Dao. You want to deceive? I then dig my heart and eat it. I heard that you like eating children's hearts the most. Song Yunwoo's outstretched hands stopped in midair, and the smile on her face hovered on the verge of collapse. Her whole body seemed to fade, and her sand value plummeted. At the foot of the mountain, Lion Feng and Jiang Shuling, who had just hung up the phone with Lion Kaianjun, looked at each other strangely. The disaster comes first, the heart-eating demon Wei. That fan-like master is actually Song Yunwoo. But I know Song Yunwoo, Jiang Shuling said in disbelief. I have been in the same school with her from elementary school to junior high school. Every time she takes exams, she is the last one in grade. No one can shake her at all. She didn't pass the entrance exam. Her father stuffed money into another private high school. I've heard of it too, Lion Feng said. The one with the worst aptitude in the Song family's awakened bloodline is that he can't even draw charms at the age of 20. He rubbed his ears. Damn. Are you telling me now that she is the heart-eater who single-handedly destroyed 250 troops on the treasure island? What about cheating? I don't believe it. Jiang Shuling also shook his head vigorously. She pretends to be such an idiot if she is full. Is she still pretending to be an idiot for more than 10 years? Ziliang Yaezhuang. Qin Yuyao looked at Song Yunwoo in surprise. Sister Yunwoo. Are you still eating? I am not. I don't. Don't talk nonsense, Song Yunwoo quickly explained. The nickname was taken by others, but Qin Yuyao has no doubts about Song Yunwoo's strength. After all, who can seal the 8 evil spirits? It's just groundless. And this nickname will never be grounded or unfounded. I'm just, Song Yunwoo was very weak. It explained I just got a little stronger when I punched. And I can always bang people through. Those people think I am when they see the hollow body in the chest. I have to dig my heart to eat. This nickname is completely spread by those artificial rumors that black me out. I really don't eat people's hearts. Chin Yuya walked over and patted her shoulder. Sister. I believe you. When she thought she was going to become a vixen, she had also endured the cannibalistic pressure and knew how difficult it was. Little Yuyao. Song Yunwoo hugged Chin Yuyao moved, it's still hello. Just as Chin Yuyao calmed Song Yunwoo, Jin Huiyuan suddenly said, I'll just say that you are all the villains. Chin Yuyao, I investigated you. She was still an ordinary female college student half a year ago. But now she has heard that she confessed to killing her. Over 200,000 people. You can still hug her peacefully. And you still say you are not a pervert. Chin Yuyao was stunned as if struck by lightning. Yes, what she said makes sense. Song Yunwoo only denied being mindful, but didn't deny killing. Why did I ignore this subconsciously? Or just accept this in a normal way? Is it really perverted? Is perverted, state ding. Chin Yuyao's san value continues to fall. Seeing that Chin Yuyao's situation was a little wrong, Song Yunwoo hurriedly said, don't think about it, Zio Yuya. How can I kill 200,000 people alone? I just killed a dozen evolutionaries. And then exploded some airplanes and tanks. Battleship or something. The ordinary soldiers surrendered. And I didn't kill any of them, a dozen or so are also killed. Xiamen Qing whispered from the side, shut up. Song Yunwoo yelled, you are ashamed to say me. A murderer like a spermicide, I was wronged. Xiamen Qing felt that she was the worst. After all, he hadn't traveled through Wang Meng's time. The affairs of Hiroshima had nothing to do with her. And it had nothing to do with this body. It was purely planted by others. Although Jin Huiyuan doesn't know what nerves these three women are making. This is definitely an excellent opportunity to escape. She guessed that the space must have been banned by someone. As long as she escaped a certain range, Yu Kanshu www. Ukanshu, Kam would be able to use teleport to escape. She resisted the injuries on her body and the discomfort of chrysanthemum. And crawled out little by little. Xiamen Qing is in a daze. Song Yunwoo is saddened, Chin Yuyao is suspicious of life. The three of them didn't care about her for a while. And they let her climb to the hallway smoothly, yes climb. Because Jin Huiyuan's leg was severely electrocuted by the wire at the door. And she couldn't control it freely below her knees for the time being. It's here, it's finally here, just get out of this door. The closer you get, the more obvious the induction will be. Jin Huiyuan knows that as long as she leaves this villa, she can teleport. However, when she pressed the doorknob and pulled it vigorously, she didn't pull it, is it going to be pushed out? So she pushed again, still not pushing. Why? Why can't it open, seeing freedom approaching? This door cannot be opened anyway. Suddenly Jin Huiyuan seemed to understand something. Her eyes overflowed with crystal tears. It turns out that they are all pretends. And they weren't hit by me at all. They just want me to despair again at the moment I see hope. Carefully think about it. How could such a wicked person be shaken by words? I'm so stupid really, at this moment with a crash. Jin Huiyuan suddenly felt her eyes light up. It was light, the door was opened, and light penetrated in. She stared at the half-open door in a daze. What a... It was a horizontal push-pull type, in fact. This door was originally an ordinary revolving door, later. When she accidentally bumped into Luna Jones during the Chinese New Year, Song Yunwoo simply changed the door to a horizontal sliding type. Jin Huiyuan looked at the figure opening the door against the light. She knew that although the door opened, she had already missed the only chance to escape.